50-50. It's whatever you want to put in. If you get a guy to hang around for 2 to 3 seasons, that's probably a win because that's the average career of an NFL player. Now, we're talking about some veterans here as well, so they've already been in the league for a few years. If you can push out 2 or 3 more out of them, that's even better. So that's the tricky part about this is that most guys aren't going to play in the league for a while. Like the 2017 group, none of those guys are probably in the league. I don't know for sure, but no one's in the league. I could probably go to the 2021, and we know Kello's still in the league, Gerald's still in the league. I don't know what Kerry Hyder is. It's just hard to hang around, but you'd like these guys to hang around multiple years for your organization.
I agree. And again, I'm seeing a lot of texts, as are you, on the Mac and Jacks text line, and people saying, not impressed. MVS doesn't move the needle to me. This does nothing for me. I'm not happy about the signing so far. And the entire point of this open and this conversation we're having now is to say, I can't remember a class that did. This should feel like absolute normal to you. And the thing is, the Seahawks have not been necessarily an unsuccessful franchise, but it has been clear, and it should be clear from the list of classes I just read, that John Schneider has not knocked it out of the park and found star power in free agency often. He is not. What you need to do then is expect, okay, he's going to look for role players in free agency.
Yeah.
Like it or not.
Yeah.
Often I don't, but like it or not, that's what's going to happen. Well, you know where your focus is now when the hot seat comes in is you're looking at the draft and you're looking at the players he's already added and you're going, you need to make the most of this.
Well, there's still time, too. There's still time, and they still got a bunch of cap space. I know you're not overwhelmed by this move, but if you understand who Marquez is, he's a guy who stretches the field. He's a guy who's been in this Kubiak offense before, so there's less teaching over there. He's a guy who can give you 400 to 600 yards a year. Yeah. Actually, I'm going to push towards 600 because right now he's probably the number 2 receiver. And number 2, you'll get about 600. You can look at Tyler Lockett and say, well, how come you didn't bring him back to do that? Because Tyler Lockett wasn't going to take the pay cut that you were going to ask him to take. And his game is just different. Marquez, and this is no disrespect to Tyler Lockett, I think he is officially the second best receiver to ever come through here. His game is just different. Marquez isn't going to get the ball and kind of look to go down. He's going to get the ball and trying to get yards after catch. Marquez is a big body, which automatically requires some attention from the safety. Listen, I'm selling you on Marquez, but I also want you to know that the expectations aren't 1,000 yards and, oh, my God, he's the catalyst to this whole thing. JSN is the guy and should be the guy and will be the guy. Marquez is just that second option right now. That doesn't mean that they're not going to go on this draft and pick up a receiver. So you have to be patient. You have to be patient with this, and you have to understand that this is a long game in a short period of time. You got a few days to try to figure this out, maybe a week or so, and then you head towards the draft and see what you can do there. But I'm not going to look at the draft and ask a rookie receiver to save us. I'm going to look at the draft and say, rookie, you come in and try to fit in, and if you are able to pass up Marquez, then you go ahead and do that.
Someone said 2017, you skipped the free agents that led to Super Bowls. I've always given John Schneider credit about the free agents that led to Super Bowls, which I would say would be Michael Bennett, Cliff Averill, those guys. Jimmy Graham, who this person listed, was after Super Bowl 49, ahead of the 2015 season. He never played or participated or had anything to do in a Super Bowl for Seattle. But the reason that I limited it to 2017 is the same reason that I don't turn to the Super Bowl 48 all the time in support of what the Seahawks are doing now. It was more than 10 years ago. You know what I mean? There's only so much credit you could give something that was 10 years ago before you start doing, okay, but what have we learned from a track record that extends? 2017, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 seasons ago. 8 seasons is a pretty big snapshot.
That's like 15 years in NFL.
I am not being unfair in my coverage here. I have given John Schneider much credit, much deserved credit for draft hits that he's made, and I will always give John Schneider and Pete Carroll, they both did this together, credit for winning a Super Bowl. You can never take that away. I know there are people that say, what has John Schneider done, particularly in comparisons to Jerry DiPoto. Well, he helped build a team that won a Super Bowl. I don't know what else to tell you. That's kind of an end-all, be-all when you look at what someone's been able to do. However, you need to consistently find ways to get back there and build up contenders. And I'm not expecting them to do it with free agency based on this 8-year track record.
The only problem I have with this list is that if you went across the league and did it for most teams, it probably looks the same.
Exactly.
This is just how hard it is to find these guys, because when you're approaching free agency, there are about 8 to 10 guys a year where people are looking at them and saying, must have them. I will pay them whatever they need. If we need an offensive lineman, I'm going to get Becton. If we need this guy, I'm going to get that. There's only about 8 to 10 guys that really require that much attention. Other than that, you're trying to bring in an older guy, a veteran, who has had a decent career, and you're looking to resurrect it somehow. Or you're looking just to take what he has left and apply that to your offense and your defense just to keep things going. There aren't superstars at every position on offense or on defense, and I think that's where kind of people get caught up in thinking, Marquez, what is he going to do? He's not a star. There aren't stars at every position. I know you're coming off of JSN and DK and then Lockett, but Lockett, it took him some years to become who he was. DK, he's still a young man, and JSN, you're catching him in the beginning of his career. They have to be supported, and role players are not stars. So if you're looking for Marquez to come in and go for 1,000 yards and you're underwhelmed, then I think that you're looking at this thing the wrong way. He's a big receiver that's on the outside that can stretch the field. He's not going to catch every football thrown to him. He will make some big plays. He will drop the football. This is football. Everybody's not a star. So you got to try to look at what he has left in the tank and understand how that might apply and help Jason out.
In Seattle's defense, and I'm not doing this for a homer take, I'm explaining why I think John Schneider takes this approach. In Seattle's defense, taking a somewhat reserved approach to free agency or just kind of looking for role players has meant they haven't had massive flops with contracts. So, like, the Jets gave Le'Veon Bell a $52 million deal in 2019. He had one of his worst yards per carry and gave them 3 touchdowns. The Texans signed Brock Osweiler. You guys remember that? I don't know why they did that because he was tall. I have no idea. To a 4-year, $72 million deal. He played 1 season, ended up being benched there. And the Falcons, the most recent example, gave Kirk Cousins a 4-year, $180 million deal. He ended up getting benched. He'll probably get traded and be a backup somewhere. Those are bad free agent signings the Seahawks have managed to avoid. On the flip side, you're kind of waiting for the recent example of the Eagles finding Zach Bond. Zach Bond was a special teams linebacker out of the 3rd round for the Saints for a while, spent like a single part of a season with the Ravens before getting hurt. That's like the gem free agent that you randomly find that ends up, being a surprise, really impactful person for your team. You're not going to find that every year. My critique for Seattle is that it's been a while since they've found that. And I will include Julian Love and Geno Smith as 2 recent examples, but I'm looking for that from Schneider is what I'm looking for.
You just described it. You got J Love. You got Geno.
I'm thinking of last year with what did you get? What did you get? You got nothing.
Well, last year you got to think about the situation they were in too. Now this isn't an excuse. This is the reality of the situation. You bring in a coach in February, everyone's scrambling. He doesn't go to the Senior Bowl. You're just trying to grab guys. What kind of defense are we going to be? You're accelerating the process. So I get your want to find that guy every year, but how often does that happen for teams? I think it's hard to look at Philly and compare your life to what the Philadelphia Eagles have been able to do. It'd be nice, and it's possible because they've done it.
Sure.
But I think that it's harder to do. But that's your goal every year, and it'd take way too much time to do. But I'd be interested to see I'm gonna go in the division and just see where they've hit in free agency. Because when you think about the Niners, you think about the Rams and the Cardinals. The Rams built their team through the draft. They built it through the draft. Now you just got Devontae Adams. You hit right there probably. You look at the Arizona Cardinals. They built their team through the draft, and you look at who am I missing? I'm like, the Niners. The Niners have drafted and they bring over like a Trent Williams or something like that. But other than that, Debo, Ayuk, Brock Purdy, George Kittle, Fred Warner, Greenlaw, they're all homegrown. So I think that's where the connection is missed. You haven't hit enough on multiple players in the draft, and you're doing what most teams do with free agency,
right, so
and you're only hitting every now and then with some guys.
Yep, really good point. I'm sure we're not done talking about this today. It's officially the first day of free agency, so we may even get some more breaking news later in the show. Right now, let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline number 1, Brett Favre is publicly encouraging Aaron Rodgers to sign with the Vikings, calling Minnesota a great place to win. What's the real headline?
It's definitely not worth it for the Vikings to re-sign Rodgers or to sign Rodgers, but if anyone knows how to steal money, it's Brett Favre.
Steal money from the poorest state in America. Goodness gracious. Look, watching Brett Favre in Minnesota was magical. That was a fun run, right? You watch him do his thing. I remember I was in Vegas when he was in the playoffs, and everyone's huddled around the sports book watching this all go down. But there are some people that you have in your life that want to give you advice, and you just nod your head and you go, I'm going to do my own research on this whole thing. Brett Favre at this point is one of those guys. I don't know him as a person. I don't know him as a quarterback mind in the classroom, but sometimes you just gotta respectfully nod your head and say okay and make your own decisions, because imagine these two sitting there having drinks talking about any situation. It's the most off-base conversation I think we would hear in a long time. So take his advice if you want, but if I'm Aaron Rodgers and his people, I'm going to do my own research and pick a spot.
You know, it's for some reason Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson are just linked in my mind this free agent offseason, and every time we talk about Aaron Rodgers, which has been every day because he's been in the news every day, where's he going to sign? What's going to happen? I just think, like, I feel bad for Russ because though you and I disagree, I think Russ might have more left in him. Maybe it's because of his age. Maybe it's because the the Steelers were technically a playoff team last year on the back of their defense, mind you. But I don't know. I've just tricked myself into thinking that Russ is being maybe overlooked because of Rodgers' history, but Rodgers just doesn't have it anymore.
Yeah, it's so tough because it's hard to separate who they were. So you associate Russell Wilson with the best of Russell Wilson, and you're wild. You do the same thing with Aaron Rodgers, and you look at that last year. We ran through the numbers yesterday. It's not too far off when you look at the amount of games they played in their production. Just something in my heart just says I'd probably go with Aaron Rodgers because he's had more moments, I feel like, individual moments, and hasn't had the perception of being carried by anybody. But let's not get it twisted, man. Russell tossed it 40 of them things one year, 4,000 yards, broke franchise records. Just, I don't know. This is a toss-up, and for me, I ride with Rodgers, and you ride with Wilson. Let's see who has the better year. Let's make a donut bet.
Oh, my God, we should.
Let's
okay.
make a donut bet.
No, let's do like, no, we'll have to just bet on it now. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
If Russ never signs anywhere, then I lose automatically. So we'll make the bet right now.
Well, we think he's going to sign as a backup, though. Remember we talked about that yesterday? Worst case, he signs as a backup.
Best stats, we'll go like yards, touchdowns, and if it's split, we'll go half. But we'll go best stats the end of the year between the two, and it'll be like we have to like order pizza or bring in lunch for the show.
Sounds good.
Easy bet.
Headline number 2. Tiger Woods will miss next month's Masters after rupturing his Achilles. What's the real headline?
Curtis only put this in here to upset Bump again. I'm just letting you guys know. I don't even have a headline rewrite. This news broke yesterday. Curtis put this on my show sheet in front of my face so that I would read it and Bump would be upset.
Bump, you've had 24 hours now to digest.
I had to turn on
This is
Sports
producer
Center.
manipulation.
I had to turn on Sports Center yesterday, and then it went through all his injuries. In 2018, he broke that leg, and then he has 5 knee surgeries, 2 back surgeries, and was messed up. I heard someone call Tiger Woods just a recreational golfer now, and I go, don't you disrespect the greatest of all time. Even if he is a recreational golfer at this point, whenever he shows up, people show out. The season's done. The Masters, the players, it's a wrap. I'm still going to watch. Scheffler, you better do some things to keep me locked in. This is crazy.
I'm sorry, Bump.
No, you're not.
I'm not.
We're not.
I'm not a good liar. What's next?
Headline rewrites.
Headline 3, the Seahawks were awarded 3 compensatory picks, bringing their draft pick total to 10. What's the real headline?
Schneider's going to be able to get so many running backs. Get ready for it.
Let's go.
Running backs.
Yeah.
A safety or 2.
Yeah, corner.
Well, you're going to need a corner now. You know, we'll talk about Trey Brown and what he's doing.
Get a quarterback in round 6.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. But, we felt like these 10 picks were going to happen, right? We were projecting a little bit yesterday. The more picks, the better. Because, like I mentioned earlier, it's just so hard to hit with these draft picks. In the NFL, it doesn't last very long.
Yeah.
You got about 3 seasons to figure it out, and most of the time, these guys are gone. So the more swings at it, the better for the Seattle Seahawks. And let's hope that the change in the coaching staff can assist John to finding some diamonds in the rough.
I want to jump back, Bump, to the signing in the last 2 minutes 30 here. I want to jump back to that signing of Marquez Valdez-Scantling because we have a lot of reaction that I want to throw your way. But I'll say this. 509. Maybe I eat crow and Scantling breaks out, but I don't believe he will. I'd rather sign a younger, unknown guy, honestly, and see if that guy does break out. I completely hear you. But I also think that there is a purpose to signing a veteran. I'm not announcing Marquez Valdez-Scantling because I expect him to be a star. I think he's going to get you 320 yards.
I'll give you
And
more
that's
than
okay.
that.
But you know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
like, that's okay. This isn't your premier free agent addition. This is a role player in a wide receiver room that has 3 guys right now, and only one of them has been a starter.
This is where people are coming from, seeing DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett both go for 1,000 yards. And you also have to understand that in this offense, you're probably not going to get that. There's going to be a lot of 2 receiver sets, right? There's going to be 1 receiver going deep, 1 underneath. The volume of passes aren't going to be the same like when Gino was here and you had Shoddy and all the other offensive coordinators. His role is a bit different. So I think if you can understand that and look at the Kubiak offense and see where he fits in, you might feel better about this. But taper your expectations. And no, I wouldn't want a younger unknown guy, not as the second guy. And you can still get that younger unknown guy. There's something to be said when you have a veteran in the room who knows the game of football and understands his role. My job is to hold people accountable, get JSN open, and if I get a ball thrown my way, make the catch and see what happens.
Someone said donuts. It should always be a donut bet.
Always be a donut.
Okay, we'll keep it donuts, I guess. Let's see. A couple more here. Someone here said, I think Marquez will take the top up. Like, they have high expectations for him. What would be like a fair year where you think that's a good free agent signing?
600 yards. 600 yards, 3 touchdowns. Half of his catches for first downs.
Someone else said, similar to the first text, they said, why even go get Marquez and not let Cody White or Bobo or Derek Young see what they can show you?
What does that tell you about them? Well, about what the coaching staff thinks about them. Not that they're not capable, but they want to go out and get someone who's already been the number 2 and put up several 600-yard seasons and led the league in yards per catch one year. Like, he has a decent resume. He is no chump. He's just not DK and Tyler Lockett in his prime.
Yeah, his career yards per reception, 17.4. That's really good.
MVS?
Yeah.
Hey. I always like knowing what people are saying about the Seahawks. Now, it's good and bad news when you're a topic of national conversation, because you're only a topic of national conversation when you're the Yankees or when your team is doing something really cool or really confusing. It turns out national opinions on Seattle's offseason moves run the gamut all over the place. So let's take a listen to them. That's coming up next.
When you're running the hurry up and don't have time for your favorite Seattle sports shows, listen to the podcast on demand.
How about that? Unbelievable. Who would have thought?
Every hour, every interview, every look behind the scenes.
He is your new Seahawks head coach, Mike McDonald.
We want to play a certain way, and you're just going to chisel away at it every day.
Find us on seattlesports.com, the Seattle Sports app, or wherever you get podcasts.
All signs continue to point to it being the right hire.
Never miss a minute of Seattle sports, the home of the Seahawks.
The smart way to improve home comfort is a new heat pump. New heat pumps from Home Comfort Alliance provide efficient heating and cooling in one unit. Upgrade today and enjoy 18 months, same as cash financing, and up to 15% off through March. Visit HomeComfortAlliance.com.
Can you take the power of your home internet almost anywhere? Well, with Xfinity, you can. Do more of what you love in the places you go the most with internet and mobile together. Xfinity built a network that's 99.99% reliable. Plus, Xfinity Mobile has Wi-Fi Power Boost, giving you ultra-fast Wi-Fi at home and on the go. Get the same reliable network in the places you need the most. The coffee shop, the grocery store, or the game. All to power more of what you love, whether you're a gamer, streaming, or work from home. Whatever you're into, you'll love how fast you can do it with Xfinity Internet and Mobile. And now through April 21st, get 300 megabit Xfinity Internet and one unlimited mobile line together for $25 a month for 1 year with no annual contract. And save $1,000 in your first year over Verizon and AT&T. Plus, ask how to get a free premium 5G phone. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra after promo. Regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary. Savings compared to Verizon 5G, Internet Plus One Unlimited Welcome Line, and AT&T Internet 300 Plus One Unlimited Starter SL Line. Xfinity Internet required. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual savings vary.
Jackson Hewitt wants you to save money on tax prep. We're saving money by having our intern rap in this commercial.
Don't stress. Jackson Hewitt's got expert tax prep 149 or less. Yo, some tax guys lie about price.
What?
They got hidden fees, that ain't nice.
Ain't nice.
Don't ignore MC Kevin's rhyme, cause this deal's for a limited time. $149
For tax prep that's $149 or less. Hurry into Jackson Hewitt today.
No cap.
Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now, all you have to worry about is Pam cheating at charades.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Getting engaged? At Shane Company, dream engagement rings are our specialty. We have the most beautiful natural and lab-grown diamonds, hand-picked in every price range, ready to compare side by side. Shop online at shaneco.com or in store. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Saving for retirement was tough enough for us.
Yes, and navigating markets can be challenging at times.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we take a disciplined approach with your investments.
Tell us more about that.
We take an active approach to money management, positioning your portfolio for opportunities we see ahead.
So all your clients get the same portfolio?
No, we tailor your portfolio to your individual goals and needs.
What about communication? We don't like being left in the dark.
We check in regularly to keep you informed on the markets and your portfolio.
Which means you'll help us stay on track.
Yes, our goal is your comfortable retirement. And as a fiduciary, we always put your interests first, because we do better when you do better. At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
The future is here, so why is your internet stuck in the past? With Quantum Fiber Internet, you can get next-level multi-gig speed on a reliable fiber network. Fair and honest pricing with no annual contracts or bundling required. And whole home 360 Wi-Fi to make sure your devices are ready to take you where you want to go. So you can stream, post, game, surf, like, and love to your heart's content. You do you. Let Quantum Fiber Internet take care of the rest. Learn more at quantumfiber.com. Limited availability, service, and speed in select locations only.
Making fresh produce and food affordable and accessible to all is a mission Safeway is deeply committed to. G. Scott here. Your local Safeway has all the great benefits that SNAP-eligible families love, plus exclusive savings. Right now, save 50% on Fresh Pass memberships, plus get a monthly $5 credit, free unlimited delivery, $10 of free produce, and double rewards. Check out your Safeway For You app for all details and savings, or visit Safeway.com/SNAP for details.
Safety comes first. When money is tight, don't neglect maintenance on your vehicle. Keep it safe. At Bucky's Complete Auto, we have you covered with available financing. For over 50 years, Bucky's Complete Auto has been servicing and repairing cars and trucks with modern-day technology and good old-fashioned customer service. There's a Bucky's just about everywhere for oil changes, wiper blades, brakes, tire rotation, tune-ups, and factory maintenance. No appointment necessary and financing's available. Check Bucky's.com for the location near you.
The madness tips off next week, and with it comes your chance to win the Seattle Sports Bracket Bucks, presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort. Head to seattlesports.com/win to pre-register. Receive your bracket and compete for your shot at great prizes. The grand prize winner from the 64-team bracket will win $1,000 in Visa gift cards. But if your bracket is busted in the first round, we have other ways for you to play too. Register and find complete rules at seattlesports.com/win.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
All right, I know that sometimes you don't care what other people say about you, and that can be a really good thing. But in this case, I'm curious. National opinions on Seattle's offseason bump could not be more varied. So let's go first to Albert Breer, MMQB. He names the Seahawks as an offseason winner.
So I'll say the Seahawks.
I agree.
You know, like you look at the young base of players, and it's
guys like Devin Witherspoon and Jackson Smith and Jigba and Kenneth Walker and Charles Cross. And there's like a lot of good young players there. Reek Woolen, and they're sort of spread throughout the roster. And if you look at it near them and you say, we're not going to re-sign DK Metcalf, we're $10 million apart in our negotiation with Geno, well, then is it a bad result to come out of that with Sam Darnold, a second-round pick, and a third-round pick? No. So now they've got 5 picks in the top 100. They got 7 years younger and like ostensibly cheaper at quarterback as well. And they've got this young core that can kind of grow up. They've got their offensive coordinator now, and Clint Kubiak, who I think will last there. Unless they win too big, I guess, right? This is like, to me, like the sort of way of kind of moving the ball forward.
Okay, I'm going to play all these cuts together so that you have the group to compare and contrast, and then I'm going to ask you who you think most closely aligns with how you believe. Here's Greg Rosenthal. He is not a fan.
But one thing they haven't thought about. Okay. Geno Smith is better at football. The sport of football. So when he throws the ball, it goes exactly where he wants it to go. Before the play starts, Geno Smith gets a picture in his head, and after the play starts, he has an even clearer picture in his head, and he's very smart at understanding what is happening out there on the football field. I question whether Sam Darnold does that as well, but I do understand with the change in the system, that was the one part of the equation that for Seattle in a vacuum, it does make sense. But we don't live in a vacuum. Geno Smith is better.
Finally, Colin Cowherd. He's in the pro column.
Sam Darnold, 3 years, $110 million deal with the Seahawks. So he's 6 months younger than Joe Burrow, 5 months younger than Lamar Jackson, a year younger than Josh Allen. He got a Baker Mayfield contract. Geno wanted $10 million more than this, and I think Darnold's better than Geno. They got a quarterback for slightly more than DK Metcalf would have cost him. That's good GMing. This guy's $35-36 million, and he touches the ball every offensive snap, and he's still in his prime, and he doesn't cause any headaches.
What are the fairest points? Who's right? What do you make of their takes?
I think that Albert Breer is thinking for the future. He's saying, you're allowing this organization to move forward and get younger at the same time while allowing your younger guys to develop. That's why you go and get these younger quarterbacks. Greg Rosenthal is saying Sam Darnold's not as good as Geno. And then Colin Cowherd says, good job getting younger and cheaper at the quarterback position. The focus obviously being at that quarterback spot. I think that right now, Geno is probably a better quarterback than Sam Darnold. But Sam is 27 years of age and wasn't asking what Geno was asking for, $40 to $45 million. If you were to sign Geno to $40 or $45 million, you were to keep DK, you're not allowing the organization to grow. And now I would have loved for them to keep them, and then I think they would have found a way, but I also think he would have went back to the opening that you had to where you're just looking for a 7-year, 8-year guy to come in and do something that we shouldn't be asking him to do. With Marquez, I think he can do exactly what we're asking him to do. Give me 600 yards, 3 or 4 touchdowns. So I think that there are pros and cons for this situation. There is no definite answer. This is what it's going to be. This is right. This is wrong. No, you're taking chances. You're taking chances with Sam Darnold because he has 1 year showing that he can do it. Geno has 3. He's got him by 2. You're taking chances with Sam Darnold because he's 27 years of age. Can he develop? Geno, to me, is a finished product. This is as good as it's going to get. 25 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and on a good year, and you're good to go. But it's about the whole household. Right? You can't just focus on one room. It's the whole house. And when you made this move to get younger at the quarterback position to save yourself some money, you're thinking about everything that encompasses the organization. So that's where I look at this at this point, because this is what it is, and you have to move forward. I'm not dwelling in the past anymore. You should have did this. You should have did that. I would have kept Geno. I would have wanted to keep DK, but I know it would have been harder to build this team. You got to look at it through the eyes of John Schneider. He's talking about or wants to build a team for a 37-year-old head coach, second year, and a 36, 37-year-old offensive coordinator because he needs weapons, and it's going to allow them to grow together. That's what I think, where I think their mind is with this. That's where mine is.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at anything that's been done so far.
I agree. I'm also in that kind of step back mode. In terms of the arguments themselves, while I like Colin Cowherd, I think he seems like a cool dude, like a nice dude. I think he seems like a nice guy. I find his argument to be a little disingenuous and just kind of like trying to make his case based on things I don't even think he believes. I don't care if Sam Darnold is younger than Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson. I would absolutely take both of those quarterbacks over Sam Darnold in a heartbeat. Like saying Sam Darnold, he's 6 months younger than Joe Burrow. I don't care. I'd pay twice as much for Burrow, and he could be 2 years older than Sam Darnold, and I'd still take him. Like, those are fundamentally better products than Sam Darnold. But Sam Darnold isn't nearly as expensive. And his ultimate point, and the one he should have stuck with, is that Sam Darnold is $10 million and 7 years younger than Geno Smith. That's his ultimate point, and that one, I think, is fair. And the reason that I think there's such varied takes on what the Seahawks are doing is because of this take from Benjamin Solak, where he says the two most likely outcomes for Seattle are fundamentally different. Either a big step forward from the Smith era into serious playoff contention by virtue of the cap savings and draft picks you've acquired, or a big step back into what becomes a clear rebuild if Sam Darnold doesn't work.
Yeah. Those are the options, and most teams are kind of in that boat. What do you think the Niners are thinking right now? They are running around frantically. That fan base, I went on their Twitter, their X, and they don't know what's going on over there. But this is what happens. This is the process of an NFL team that has not been able to get to a conference championship, or even if you are the Niners, gotten to a conference championship in a Super Bowl, there is a time where you have to make big decisions. And the reason why you have to make these big decisions, because there's something called a salary cap that forces you to allocate money in certain places. This is not baseball, where you're going to sit there and say, we're going to spend everything that we have. It doesn't matter. $700 billion, give it to them. We are good to go. No, there has to be some type of structure and a plan for the future if you are not considered one of those elite teams. And then you look at the elite teams. They're restructuring contracts. They're moving money around. It's all because of the salary cap. And you have to look at the cap, and you have to look at the talent you have surrounding the quarterback. Do you have the quarterback that could compensate for the shortcomings of the talent? Or do you have the talent that is going to help a quarterback that is younger, cheaper, and probably hasn't had the success throughout his whole career that you would like to see? Those guys are called elite quarterbacks. So there's a dance that is happening, and it's all about how you want to do the dance. You might not agree with how things are going right now, but do you see the vision? That's what I challenge people. Like, do you see what they're trying to do? Younger at quarterback, you still got a bunch of young talent. You moved a lot of money around. You got about $62 million in cap space. You just got a number 2 receiver for your number 1. You better go ahead and fix that offensive line, because we know that's going to be a problem. The defense is looking good right now. You got to see the vision, even if you don't agree with them. You got to see the vision.
I think that we just saw a team that doesn't depend entirely on its quarterback to win them games, even though credit to Jalen Hurts, his 2 best games of the season were the championship game and the Super Bowl.
Right.
But I think that for someone like John Schneider, I don't know if the Eagles have impacted him in any way, but it's what I keep thinking about with his rebuild. If you kept Geno, you're counting on Geno in a way that you aren't necessarily counting on Sam Darnold. And I know that there are some listeners who say, and some Sam Darnold fans outside of Seattle who say, you don't know what Sam could become. I maybe unfairly have a bit of a ceiling on Sam Darnold that doesn't exist for some other quarterbacks that I think are just better. And I know Sam's younger and he can grow into that, but I just don't see that. But I think that can be okay if you have a good enough team around him. That is what I'm assuming John Schneider's plan is.
Trying to build.
Right, much like the Eagles have with Jalen Hurts, who I also don't think is like fundamentally a top 5 quarterback, but they don't need him to be. Right now the Seahawks needed Geno to be great. And I don't think John Schneider either believed that he could be the best or wanted to do that anymore.
Complete team.
Yep.
He's trying to build a complete team.
Absolutely. Coming up next, one of my favorite segments every single week, Wednesdays at 10:45. It's Get Off My Lawn with Michael Bumpus.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
Why I like the Sam Darnold deal, and why the more we talked through it this morning on the show, it just made more and more sense to me, and why everybody, I think, in the league kind of felt like, yep, this made a lot of sense for John Schneider and the Seahawks.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
A deal that's similar to Geno's 3 years ago, similar to Baker Mayfield's, gives this team plenty of still cap room and opportunity, both in this draft and throughout the rest of the offseason. I think it's a win-win all the way around.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Springtime has me thinking about taking a nice trip somewhere to unwind, relax, and also have a little bit of entertainment for the night. Now, I'm not talking about getting on the plane. Why would you go through all that trouble when you have plenty to explore here in the beautiful Pacific Northwest? What's up, is Michael Bumpus, and the place I'm thinking of is an easy drive away. Has a beautiful resort, deluxe rooms with in-room tablets and free Wi-Fi, a challenging golf course with water on almost every hole, delicious restaurants with the best steakhouse in the north of Seattle, an authentic Mexican restaurant, The Cantina. Man, they got live events, they got music, and a chance to win a share of $3,000 every Saturday in March. The place I'm talking about is Silver Reef Casino Resort. I can't wait to get up there, and neither should you. SilverReefCasino.com. Go there to check out your room and the stay and all the events they have going on. There's a perfect getaway for you just a little bit up the street. You go to I-5 North, you get out on exit 260, and you are good to go. Casino Resort.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later. Here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home and make price-boosting upgrades with no cost until close. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on seattlesports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
If you've ever wondered if there's something after death, Tyler Henry proves the answer is yes. Be part of his live audience readings and his jaw-dropping ability to connect with the departed at Muckleshoot Event Center, Thursday, July 10th and Friday, July 11th at 8 p.m. Experience this evening of hope and healing, bringing peace and closure to loved ones. Tyler Henry proves our loved ones never leave us. Get tickets at MuckleshootCasino.com.
Muckleshoot. I just had Asset Roofing come out and do a full inspection on my roof because I wanted to be proactive and handle any small problems before they became big problems, and they were extremely professional with their communication and recommendations. You really need an expert on your side, and Asset Roofing is on mine. Allow them to work for you, too. You can find out more at AssetRoofingCo.com. That's AssetRoofingCo.com.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
Hey, it's Jason Rance. I'm here with our local tax expert and advocate, Greg Nunn of None Better Tax Resolution. When you're dealing with business owners and the idea that they owe money to the IRS and they feel like they might be letting their staff down, and it just spirals out of control.
One thing I see with businesses, it's really tough because they have employees and maybe they're having a difficult time with the cash flow of the business. then unfortunately what a business often does is they quit making their payroll tax deposits, which is really about the worst thing you could be doing. I mean, it's a telltale sign if you're doing that. Hey, get someone that can help you kind of look at your business and see if things can be changed so that you can operate your business better and make those payroll tax deposits. Because let me tell you this, the IRS is on those right away.
If you're having trouble with the IRS, you have to call Greg Nunn of None Better Tax Resolution. From stress to success with IRS Solutions. 425-947-1967 or Google NUNN, None Better Tax Resolution.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Coming up in 15, we're going to take a look around the NFC West with Eric Williams. What's going on in San Francisco? And are the Rams the favorite to win this year? How did the Seahawks get back in there? First, though, it's Get Off My Lawn, Michael Bumpus. In your advancing age, you found yourself getting grumpier, short-tempered,
yeah,
a little more fed up about certain things, and every single week you tell us 3 things really grinding your gears. So what you got for us today?
I'm a man.
All right. First one, Angel Reese, right? She had some strong comments about how the players should be getting paid more. And initially, I went in thinking, like, what are you talking about? Like, there's only so much money that you can pull from the pot or whatnot. And everyone knows that the WNBA loses money every single year. The NBA has been supporting the WNBA since 1996, and the owners, quite frankly, are getting tired of supporting it because they're not seeing a return on their money. Now, they lost about $40 million last year, but they pull a revenue of about $200 million, right? They're still working in the negative, though. The messed up part about this situation is for Angel Reese. So I went in trying to get after Angel Reese, and then as I dig deeper, I understand what the CBA is. Her thing is, and other players in the league, is that they're only getting 10% of the revenue. But the reason why they're getting 10% of the revenue is because the player signed a CBA that doesn't expire until 2025. They're upset, the women who are in the league now, they're upset because the players 2 years from now are probably going to be getting paid more than what they are getting paid, which is true. So here's my problem with this whole situation, okay? The owners have to realize that this was an investment. They knew that this league was going to work in the negative for X amount of years, but they're seeing the popularity grow, and they want returns on their money right now. That's not the way that it works. You got to have projections. You got to hit goals. You got to hit TV deals, and that's just not happening. So if I'm the owners of the WNBA and you're tired of doing this, they own 50% of the league. Let the franchises own the other 50% and let them operate the way that they want to. Then you don't have to deal with the Angel Reeses and everyone coming out saying that they want more. The other jacked up part is 10% of the revenues isn't enough. I understand that you're losing $40 million a year, but you're bringing in $200 million a year. The top salary in the game right now is like $214,000. The base is about $70,000. There's a way to increase it a bit. They have gotten some benefits. You have your charter flights now. They're paying for things. So both sides are just wrong. I'm looking at the owners and saying, if you're tired of it, give them the whole league. I'm looking at the players and I'm saying, all right, well, you guys got to find ways to generate more money. You have to. Your game has to be more attractive, but it's heading in that direction. So it's just. And your president signed the CBA. You got to wait till 2025 to figure this thing out. So I appreciate Angel Reese for trying to get in front of that and other players as well. It's not just her, but trying to get in front of it. But both sides are just operating with ill intent at this point, and it's going to get messy real quick. They're talking about having a lockout in 2025. Y'all can't afford that.
No.
You know, I know Angel Reese, she makes about $1 million to $2 million off the court. On the court, she's making $70,000. That's the situation for most of those players. It's not like this is the NFL where you have a league minimum of $600,000. And guys can, look, if you're good with your money, you can afford to take off a year and you'll be fine. It's a different situation. So it's interesting because the league popularity has gone up, but the revenue ain't there. The owners are mad for in the NBA. The players are mad. It is just a you-know-what show, and it's not going to get resolved anytime soon.
I just keep, during this entire conversation, thinking back to all the missed opportunities with both Reese and Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just thinking of those moments of like, why are you hurting your own promotion when the best way for you to secure exactly the future you want is to lean into your young stars?
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to get messy over there real quick for the WNBA. And they're just coming off their best year in the league's history, and there might be a lockout in 2025. Man, that's crazy.
Okay, what's next?
I'm a man. I'm 40.
So I've had to switch my schedule up a little bit, right? I've been waking up in the morning to go to the gym, but my kids had to do some stuff, so I had to switch it up. And I did something that I will probably never do again unless I absolutely have to do it. I went to the gym at 8 p.m. last night. 8 p.m. I'm not going to say the gym because I'm a member there. And if y'all want to holler at your boy for a sponsorship, what's up? All right?
It costs.
All right? It costs. But I go in at 8 p.m. and it is chaos in that gym. It is chaos. It's a fashion show for a bunch of the women. It's a fashion show for a bunch of the men. But the thing that irked me the most, youngsters, young men, if you are going into the gym, do not wear pajama pants. You know how many pajama pants I saw in the gym?
What?
Pajama pants and like slippers and sandals. I'm thinking to myself, you're not taking this workout seriously. And then they're working out in groups of 4 to 5. This is a public gym. It should be 1 to 2 of y'all per machine. They're holding machines for like 20 minutes. I'm thinking to myself, I got an hour and a half, dog. I got to get up out of here, and y'all are jacking me up, and you're not even dressed for the occasion. That's like me doing this event I did in Canada and showing up in a hoodie that I wear for radio when you know I'm supposed to be, business casual in that thing. It was frustrating watching these young men walk around in pajama pants and slippers on and 6 deep to 1 machine. It don't work like that.
What? You're not even, what are you even doing for a workout? Like, you don't have proper support. You're not using like sweat wicking garments or anything. Like, the point of workout clothing and shoes is to support workouts and support training. Like, what are you doing? Just going in and doing like the most basic thing with no effort? No, like, you don't know how to work out if that's what you're doing.
Listen, and there's some specimens in there. There's some 6'3"ers.
Sure.
Walking around in pajama pants and sandals
Got that
on.
19-year-old metabolism is what it is.
And just BSing. And then I look at the weight they're doing. I'm like, man, come on, man. You can put up more weight than that.
You should start
push
training
yourself.
them.
Come on. But I get in my zone, headphones on, hoodie, and try to get out of there. But yeah, that was frustrating.
Okay, what's last?
All right.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Last one. I got into real dad mode this morning. Real dad mode. So I crossed the 520 bridge every day. And there's some construction going on over there. Or would you call that Montlake?
Montlake, yeah.
That's Montlake, right? And where they put where they dock all the boats and stuff, and people are slowing down to like kind of look and figure out what's going on over there. They need to put like a dang message up on the board or something. Let me know what's going on, okay? I need to know what's going on. I'm just nosy like that. I want to know about the construction. I'm trying to figure out. It's been a few months. That's just me. I'm real dad mode. When there is anything being constructed, I just like to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Maybe it puts me at ease. Maybe I don't get as frustrated with the traffic because I'm like, listen, man, they're building a new bridge, so the traffic is easier. Relax, guys. We're in this together.
I talked to the fellas over here.
I talked to the guys. He had a hard hat on. He's official. I believe him. So just let me know. I'm just strictly dad mode. I just want to know what's going on in my community. Just let me know.
I'm imagining you and Curtis getting out of your cars, hands in belt loops, walking up going,
That's right.
So, you guys got a bridge going over here? What are we working on over here? Your words start to just slur together.
How deep is it over there? Like, give me some. Hey, if they told me how deep it was at that point in the lake, too. I mean, just useful information. I like.
What are you guys,
little
Bob
stuff
the Builder
like
over
that.
here? What's wrong with you two?
How you guys digging this out?
Yeah, I mean, are you protecting the wildlife that might be underneath this thing? I just want to know, okay? I'm getting older and the world is changing. There's apartments going up everywhere. I just need to know what's going on.
That's so dap. Never in my life have I seen a construction crew or people working on something and thought, man, I got to know what those guys are doing over there.
The one question I've always had for construction workers, and maybe if there's a construction worker listening, they can text in the answer to this. How do they build tower cranes without the help of another tower crane?
That's a good question, Curtis.
How does it happen?
That is a great question.
It's a great question. If anyone knows, I mean, I bet now they use other tower cranes, but where'd the first tower crane come from?
It's like a sourdough starter.
Yeah. Eric Williams joining us next.
When you're running the hurry up and don't have time for your favorite Seattle sports shows, listen to the podcast on demand.
How about that? Unbelievable. Who would have thought?
Every hour, every interview, every look behind the scenes.
He is your new Seahawks head coach, Mike McDonald.
We want to play a certain way, and you're just going to chisel away at it every day.
Find us on seattlesports.com, the Seattle Sports app, or wherever you get podcasts.
All signs continue to point to it being the right hire.
Never miss a minute of Seattle sports, the home of the Seahawks.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Some people just know they can save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first at 888-ALLSTATE or allstate.com. Like you know to check you have gas first before road tripping through the desert.
Empty? Seriously? Maybe I can walk.
Yeah, checking first is smart. So if you want to save money, check Allstate first at 888-ALLSTATE or allstate.com.
Maybe I can't.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Buying a home used to feel like a complete headache. Listings here, pre-approval there, financing somewhere else. Now, Rocket is giving every home one address. Rocket.com. A single seamless homeownership platform to help you find, buy, sell, finance, and refinance your home. Everything you need, all under one roof. Visit Rocket.com, the new home for all things homeownership. Rocket. Own the dream.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen, and PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request a complimentary design and estimate consultation at 425-629-8476 or project ideas. Explore photos at pcfgroup.com. That's 425-629-8476.
This might be the most surprising statistic I've shared in decades of doing local news. More than 75% of commuters will be involved in a car accident at some point. JP Pendergast of Pendergast Law with more.
What makes it more surprising? The average person will be involved in 3 to 4 collisions in their lifetime.
With accidents unbelievably prevalent, what are some safety tips if it happens to you?
Safety first. Secondary collisions are not uncommon while awaiting help. Turn on those hazards and remain in a safe place. If a bystander witnessed the accident, capture their information and encourage them to remain at the scene. Seek medical attention immediately if needed, as delaying can be a costly mistake. Lastly, remember that statements made to police and insurance adjusters can affect your case.
Collisions are more common than we'd like to think. If you find yourself in one, follow these helpful tips and then call my friends at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one's injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
PendergastLaw.com.
Are you trying to buy a new home, or are you a local real estate agent seeking financing for a client? We're all tired of dealing with banks, credit unions, and endless guidelines. Wouldn't it be nice to go back in time when we had common sense lending? Hi, I'm Scott Rureka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We are one of the largest local private portfolio lenders in Washington. We've helped thousands of home buyers and real estate investors reach their financial goals by leveraging the Legacy Common Sense borrowing platform. What that means is we lend our own money, we make our own decisions. If your deal makes sense, we'll get it done. Whether you're purchasing a new piece of real estate or refinancing an existing loan, bridge loans, construction, or regular home loan, it doesn't have to be as difficult as banks and lenders make it. If you're trying to grow wealth through real estate acquisition, come talk to the experts in private lending.
Call 425-635-4700 or LegacyG.com. Legacy Group Capital, your common sense lender. LegacyG.com.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Seahawks made their second signing of free agency, and it addresses another big area of need. Per Tom Pelissero, veteran wide receiver Marquez Valdez-Scantling will sign with the Seahawks on a one-year deal worth up to $5.5 million. Wide receiver became a top priority following the release of Tyler Lockett and trade of DK Metcalf.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Taking a look around the NFC West with Fox Sports NFC West reporter Eric Williams joining us now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Eric, we do have questions about the Rams. I know people are curious about what's going to happen with Cooper Kupp. We have questions about what's going on with the 49ers. A lot of players on the move. But because we haven't talked to you yet this offseason, I want to ask you first things first about your reaction to the Geno Smith trade.
I mean, a little surprised. When Snyder talked at the Combine, it seemed like Geno was staying, but, we know negotiations, things happen. It makes sense, I think, for Geno to move on to be coached by Pete Carroll again. They want to win quickly in Las Vegas. I think Geno gives them a quicker path to do that. Sounds like they're going to pay him more money. So that's a win for Geno. And then I think with Sam Darnold, it's 2 years, $55 million essentially to figure out if he's the guy or not. You can move on from him if it doesn't work out after a couple seasons. I do think it is a bit of a risk because we know Geno works in terms of wins over the last couple seasons. Darnold had a good season in Minnesota, but it is going to be a change with the new offensive coordinator in Seattle and a new culture. So I think it's a reset. I think, in my opinion, Geno's a little better than Darnold, but Darnold has more upside because of his age, being 27 years old.
Yeah, that's been obviously, Eric, the big conversation here in Seattle is comparing the two quarterbacks. And I even said myself, I would have preferred for them to take care of Geno and keep him here and even keep DK Metcalf. But I look at what they've been doing, and it's almost like they're trying to support the young talent that's around them and not just focusing on, a couple of major parts. How would you describe their approach to this offseason so far?
Well, I covered the team for 6 seasons, and it reminds me a little bit when they moved on from Matt Hasselbeck. You kind of clear the deck a little bit. You get rid of guys that had big personalities or big leadership roles on that team. And by doing that, you allow other guys to kind of emerge and take on more of a role in terms of leadership. Obviously moving on from Matt Hasselbeck and other guys that served in leadership positions with that group, Lofa Tatupu, they allowed other guys like Cam Chancellor to emerge and take on bigger roles. And I think maybe that's the hope here with Mike Macdonald, a new head coach, kind of setting his vision and allowing other players to take on more predominant roles. And so, Snyder has a good track record of, changing the culture and creating an environment where you can still win and doing it quickly. He did that when they moved on from Russell Wilson. Nobody expected this team to be as successful as they were early on, moving on from Russell Wilson. The same thing with Hasselbeck, when they first got there. And so, again, based on his track record and what he's done in the past, I would expect something similar in terms of, how he values that position. And like you said, being able to add pieces around the quarterback position.
Tom Pelissero reporting about a minute ago that the Rams have informed Cooper Kupp they're releasing him today. Obviously, this isn't shocking. It had been widely reported leading up that this was going to be the plan if they couldn't trade him. What do you think Cooper has left? And do you think there's any chance in the world he could end up with the Seahawks? Eric, I ask because I've been getting this question all day.
Yes and yes. I'm around Cooper a lot, being in Southern California and being able to go and watch practice, and I've talked to him both, before the season started and during the season in terms of where he's at with his body. He's not the same player, that won a Super Bowl MVP trophy athletically. But I still think he's a guy that can create separation at the top of his route and get open and make contested catches and help a team as a number 2 receiver. I think it would make some sense in Seattle, although, you do have JSN who, plays a lot in the slot, and that's where Cooper is most effective. It would be a return home for Cooper, who's obviously from Eastern Washington, grew up in Yakima. But I think there'll be other teams that will be interested too. I expect the Cowboys to be interested. I think the Steelers, even though they have DK, could potentially be a fit because of Cooper's ability to play inside and slot. And then I think other teams that run that kind of Shanahan-McVay offense are going to be interested, whether it's Houston or Jacksonville, who Liam Cohen's the head coach there, and Liam, coached with the Rams when Cooper was there. So I expect there to be interest, and I expect it, Cooper to make a choice based on, where he wants his family to be, and obviously money's going to be a part of that equation as well.
The Hawks just grabbed themselves a receiver, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and I expect
they're good now, right, Bumpus?
No, I don't think they're good, but they're a little better. They're a little better. And I'm trying to keep it in perspective for our listeners. I'm like, look, you need a guy like him with his body type and what he brings to the table, but they're not done yet. What does that addition do to the receiving core?
Well, like you said, I think it's kind of a placeholder. You get a guy that gives you some of the stuff that DK was able to give you as a perimeter threat on the outside, a guy that can, stretch the defense a little bit, has a bigger body, bigger frame. And, a lot of times when teams make these kind of deals in free agency, it's a tell for what they're going to be looking for once they draft, because you're looking for a guy that's going to be able to give you that, but you don't know if you're going to be able to find that in the draft. And so, yeah, you're right. I mean, it's just kind of a flyer on a guy that could maybe give you similar things from what you lost from a player that, was one of the best players in the league when you talk about DK.
Kind of a weird question, but I spent yesterday going through the last 8 Seahawks free agent cycles, and their best signings were Julian Love and Geno Smith. And I say that as though they aren't great signings. I mean, that's a pretty good. But a common thought that Bump and I had was, well, what if the track record for other teams also isn't stellar? I don't cover other teams, but Eric, you cover 4. So I'm going to ask, is free agency typically a place that teams don't have the best track record ever? I think that no matter whatever name I announce for the Seahawks, people are just going to feel disappointed or feel like it was a bad class. Right. Do you find that that's typically the case with the teams that you cover?
I think so for the teams that make the big splashes. There's a reason that these players are available, is because their former teams are moving on from them and didn't re-sign them. Mm-hmm. So they didn't consider them foundational pieces from the teams that they're leaving from. So usually when you bring in a player, that's why a lot of times they're, like Darnold, they're looking for a relationship, so they kind of know that player a little better when they bring them in. So there's a better chance that he can come in and be productive. And so, yeah, I mean, I think there's a reason that every year you see Snyder not make a whole lot of big splashes in free agency, because they don't want to take the risk in terms of the amount of money you're going to be paying a guy, a player that you really don't know very well. That said, there's always exceptions to that, where you have guys that come in and live up, to the contract. I mean, obviously, it was a trade, but you look at Matthew Stafford and the Rams, that worked out well for them. Same with somebody like Jalen Ramsey, or, a midseason trade like Von Miller. But you could always, go the opposite way and look at, guys that have been potential flops throughout the year, most notably somebody like Albert Haynesworth, and how that really affected and set that franchise back. Look at what happened with Deshaun Watson, in Cleveland. So, it's a risk-reward proposition, and I think most times teams that are pretty good or set up pretty well would rather just, build through the draft and sign their own guys.
Do you think the Commanders have had the best offseason so far? Eric, I'm looking at what they've done, and it's been pretty impressive.
Yeah, you trade for Debo, then you trade for a blindside left tackle and Laramie Tunsil. You re-sign your own guys that were foundational guys, and Zach Ertz and Bobby Wagner. And so they're taking advantage of having a quarterback on his rookie contract in Jaden Daniels. The only thing I would say about Washington is I don't think their O-line is that great. And so I would be concerned for Daniels having a season like C.J. Stroud did in his second year, where they didn't do a great job of really protecting him. Now, you do get Tunzel, so that makes a lot of sense in terms of a blindside protector. But even Tunzel wasn't playing that great, and that's one of the reasons why Houston was, willing to move on from him, because they didn't want to pay that massive contract. So that would be my concern: is are they supporting him enough in terms of that offensive line so that he can do the kind of things that he did his rookie year?
What's going on in Arizona? I pay such close attention to the Rams. Obviously, I'm always paying attention to the 49ers and the poor Cardinals. I always kind of look at them last, and shame on me. But what's going on with their offseason? What should I know?
Well, their big signing was signing Josh Sweat, who was, I think, should have won the Super Bowl MVP, but obviously it went to Jalen, understandably, him being the quarterback. They need pass rush up front, particularly on the interior, but at least they get a legitimate guy that can come out the edge. Gave him a lot of money, though, over $40 million in guaranteed money. So, and he's only had, I believe, one double-digit sack season in 7 years. And so you wonder, is he going to be able to produce at that level when there's not as much talent up front? There's no Jalen Carter and Milton Williams pushing the interior of the pocket. But that was kind of their big addition. They did sign Jacoby Brissett as well as a backup. That was interesting to me. Their offense coordinator, Drew Petzing, had Jacoby when he was in Cleveland. We know with Kyler, because of his size, there are some injury histories, and he's traditionally has struggled in the second half of seasons, maybe because of injury concerns or just nagging injuries that he's been playing through. So the fact that they signed a legitimate backup, I thought was interesting.
The receiving group in the draft this year is a little bit top-heavy. There's a few at the top, and then everyone else kind of blends in at the bottom, though. I think it's a bit more talented than some people have kind of let on to believe. I just don't think there are the Marvin Harrisons and stuff that we were used to seeing. And I feel like the Hawks are probably going to grab one of these young receivers in the draft. If they were to do that to help with this receiving core, would that change the way, or should it change the way that some of these fans kind of see what's been happening?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you're always able to find receivers that can play through the draft, in the day 2, day 3. And the reason is because everybody's playing 7-on-7. So these guys are getting a ton of reps, from junior high school all the way through college. So I think guys come in the league more polished and better route runners than maybe 5-10 years ago, because they're playing the game continuously throughout the year. And, yeah, when I was at the Combine, everybody's fast. Everybody's running 4.4. So I think you can find somebody that can give you that juice or speed on the perimeter. I think that the thing that will be hardest will be finding the right fit in terms of what they want to do offensively. And then, finding somebody that could come in and give them production early. I think that's always been the issue with the receiver position. If you go back and look at, guys they've drafted over the years, whether it's been Golden Tate, that took a little bit of time to develop and get comfortable. Traditionally it takes a couple years for receivers to figure things out. We saw that with Marvin Harrison Jr. But also there's been a lot of guys that have come in and have popped. We saw that with Neighbors, obviously. So I just think it depends on fit and where that guy is maturity-wise, and then I think ability for the offensive coordinator to figure out what the role is quickly and put them in positions to be successful.
I was hoping, for selfish reasons, that the Rams would somehow take a step back, that Matthew Stafford would be gone, that Cooper Kupp's going to be gone, that the 49ers are rebuilding and the Rams are. But no, instead Matthew Stafford stays, and not only that, they add Devontae Adams. And then you got Poona Ford, former Seahawk Poona Ford, going to the Rams too. Tell me about, it's far too early for expectations for the season, but kind of where are the Rams at right now?
Yeah, you're right. I think they're sitting pretty good. They move on from Cooper Kupp and they replace him with a guy that's a future Hall of Famer in Devontae Adams, a guy that still has juice, in my opinion, still a really good route runner. And the one thing that Sean McVay is great at is getting guys open. So I think he'll be a plug-and-play player that'll come in and be successful like Odell Beckham was for them during their Super Bowl season. And then I agree. I think the Poona Ford signing was huge. Obviously, you guys know about him more because he played there for 5 seasons with Seattle. I kind of compare him to Brandon Mebane and what he did to that run defense during the Legion of Boom time because of his ability to kind of, set the edge in the interior and push, running games away from him. I think it was a good get for the Rams because they really struggled to stop the run. You know, you saw what Saquon Barkley was able to do against them. And so they fix a deficiency there. They already have a good defensive line with Verse and Braden Fisk and Kobe Turner. So to add a guy like that, I think just makes him even better.
Hey, we're looking at the offensive line, obviously, and the name that people are kind of throwing out there constantly here in Seattle is Mekhi Becton. And he's gonna require about $10 to $12 million. Obviously, he can play tackle and the guard spot. And I'm telling folks that would be nice, but John Schneider don't spend money on guards like that. He don't do it. So I go look at Will Hernandez maybe or Don Reisner with the Vikings. Like maybe you go that direction. What do you think the chances are they go Becton? And if not, is there a name that you like?
I think you wait to the draft, to be honest. And I think, like you said, Schneider traditionally doesn't spend money on interior offensive linemen. And I think what they've done in the past, which was successful for them early on, is they really leaned on the scheme and the coaches to get guys that fit what they want to do, coach them up, and then, really have a starting five that's better as a whole than their individual parts. And so I think now that you have, Clint Kubiak, you have Dennison there, they're going back to that scheme that was successful for them early on. I think they'll probably lean on those guys to get guys through the draft or young guys currently on the roster, coach those guys up and just try to play better as a unit and not, spend a whole lot of money in free agency to bring guys that may or may not hit.
He is Fox Sports NFC West reporter Eric Williams, kind enough to join us. Eric, you're the best. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Eric.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
See ya. Let's get to 4 Down territory.
This is 4 Down territory, going inside the game. What former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
First down, what makes you think the Hawks will definitely address the DB position in the draft?
We're going to spend more time on this later on in the show, but Trey Brown is out of there. He's over there with the 49ers now, so what leaves you is, what you're left with is Nehemiah Pritchett. My guy Bump Cooper got signed by the Dolphins. On the other side, you got Reek Woolen, you have Josh Jobe. You do have Devin Witherspoon at that nickel spot. I'm sure they prefer to keep him at the nickel spot. He's one of the more dynamic guys. Behind him, you have Artie Burns, who's kind of been up and down as far as his health and availability. This room went from one of the deepest rooms starting the season last year to, all right, you got to get some guys. Like the starters, I think, are going to be okay. You got to grab one more. If you got to put Artie out there, you do it. He's versatile. But Trey going to the Niners concerns me a little bit. And it also lets me realize or believe in that they are going to address the spot in the draft, which they probably already were, but it's a bit more important now that Trey's gone.
Second down. Why are big contracts in the NFL just unnecessary?
They're dumb. I don't even know why they do them anymore. I'm talking about the big ones. I'm talking about the Josh Allens, the Lamar Jacksons, the Pat Mahomes, the Dak Prescotts, because you're just going to restructure. You're going to get to a point where you got to pay an offensive tackle, you got to pay a guard, you got to pay a receiver, a defensive guy, whatever, and you're going to ask your quarterback to restructure. So just give these guys 3 years, $120 million, something guaranteed, and call it good, because we're seeing this now. Dak Prescott is going to have to restructure his contract every year for the next 3 or 4 years. Pat Mahomes has restructured his contract 4 times already. He signed a 10-year deal. Don't do it. Do not sign quarterbacks to 10-year deals. What you do is 3 to maybe 5. You have honest conversations. We're going to try to take care of you, but it's getting ridiculous, man, because it's not real money. It's fake money. They might get it on the back end or they're going to move it around, but why not just keep them small? Josh Allen, huge contract, right? Guarantee you he's going to have to restructure that in a year or two, because you're going to need some pieces on your football team. Your cap hit is going to be too big. It looks good on paper. It sounds good when we flash it on the TV. He's the highest paid player in NFL history. That's all for ego. That's what I'm getting out of this. It's all for ego, because everyone knows things are going to have to be moved around. Stop signing these dudes to these big deals as far as years, right? As far as, years. Keep it short. 3 to 4, 3 to 5, and call it good.
Can I also tell you, so Patrick Mahomes still has the biggest contract in terms of overall quarterback contract value. Curtis this morning was like, you will not believe where Patrick Mahomes ranks in terms of average annual value.
Nah, he's like 10 or something like that.
He's 12.
Yeah.
He's Geno Smith territory.
He is. So it's Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, obviously, like that will change. But Patrick Mahomes is getting $5 million more per than Matthew Stafford.
Crazy.
That's
You know why? Because they signed it 4 years ago. And why are we doing this? Why are we doing this?
I don't know. Third down.
Ego.
Who were some winners and losers of free agency so far?
There's some sneaky winners, man. The Bills, it's sneaky winner. You got Palmer over there from the Chargers. He doesn't have an 1,000-yard season under his belt, and neither did any receiver for the Bills last year. But you still got Shakir over there, and it allows Coleman to kind of grow. With Josh Allen, I'm not looking at his situation thinking you need a 1,000-yard receiver. If you got 3 guys going for 8 to 6 to 7 or something like that, combined with the way that Josh Allen runs the football in that run game, I think you're going to be all right. So I like what the Bills have done so far. Obviously, the biggest winner, Bears. O-line health for days, good for you. And then you just talked about them, or you asked Eric about them, the Rams. The Rams released Cooper Kupp, and they get better with an older guy in Devontae Adams. And they're better because of the injury history over there. Then you add Puna to that situation. You got depth at that D-line spot that's already one of the top 3 defensive lines in the game right now. And then you re-sign Matthew Stafford when we all thought that he was going to be out of there. Losers, Niner game, bing, bing, bang. I don't know what y'all doing. Debo gone. Banks gone. Hufanga, Lloyd, Greenlaw, Juszczyk, Jalen Monroe, some other guys that I probably don't even know about. Floyd, Now, in the Texans, your main objective was to protect your quarterback. You let Tunzel go, and no disrespect, you signed Laken Tomlinson. He's supposed to save the day. You got to protect your quarterback. And then the Cowboys. Who knows what the heck they're doing, man? It's ridiculous over there.
Yeah. 4th down. We just spoke with NFC West reporter for Fox Sports, Eric Williams. Anything stand out from our conversation with Eric?
Yeah, I was pleased with the moves that the Commanders have made, but he also pointed out they haven't really done much to protect your quarterback. And we know that if Jaden Daniels were to go down because of poor protection, their season is over. Not wishing that on nobody. He's mobile. He can make some things happen. But that stuck out to me because you look at all the pieces around that they've added, but they haven't really taken care of that offensive line yet. And then also he says you need early production from whatever receiver the Hawks grab out of the draft this year. And I think about DK Metcalf, who had early production. But other than that, he mentioned it. Tyler Lockett took a while to get going. You have Golden Tate that took a while to get going. I think Doug was pretty good at his first year. But I think that you need solid contributions from that guy. And that adds some pressure. But that's also why I like the signing of Marquez, because it takes some pressure off that young man, too. Let him get going maybe 4 or 5 games into the season. Marvin Harrison took his time to get going. But there are examples of these young guys balling out quickly.
What did you think about us asking Eric, hey, does Cooper Kupp have anything left, and could he sign with the Seahawks? And he said yes and yes. Daniel Jeremiah also retweeted the news that the Rams informed Cooper Kupp they're releasing him by saying Seattle would be a great fit for Kupp. Daniel Jeremiah, really, really well sourced.
Yeah.
I mean, he was kind of hinting at a Geno trade the weekend before it happened. What do you think?
I like Kupp to the Seahawks, and not just because he's a local guy, not just because he went to Eastern, because I've watched the film on him last year, and when he's healthy, he's good to go. So now imagine you get Cooper Kupp over here, you already have Marquez, and then you get a rookie receiver as well. You're not asking Cooper Kupp to go for 1,000 yards. You need first downs from Cooper Kupp, and he can still produce that. Also, he is a great and willing blocker, and in this scheme that you got with Kubiak coming up over, you got to be able to block. So I would not mind for the right place. I'll take Cooper Kupp. Imagine you line up Jason, Cooper Kupp, Marquez, and then a rookie coming off the bench. Yeah, we good.
Do you think not wanting 2 of a similar profile wide receivers a little overstated when you're just looking for help? For instance, the Steelers have 2 big outside guys. I don't think they're moving on from either one this year.
Cooper Kupp and Jason are 2 different receivers. People kind of lump them in together, but if you watch them, no, Cooper Kupp 6'3". He's not small. 6'2", 6'3". He is not small. Exactly.
In my mind, Cooper Kupp is 6 feet tall.
Exactly. Nah, Cooper Kupp, he got some size to him.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm a horrible reporter. Shame on me.
I thought that too. I had to look it up.
Yeah, it's just not the profile in my mind that I have of Cooper Kupp. Good for you, Cooper. The timeline coming your way next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob. Weekdays 2 to 7.
Your 2 most prominent players on offense said, I want out of here.
If you ask the texters, they would say both of them have attitude problems.
You know, we'll see what Geno signs for. If he signs for somewhere in around 40 to 45, what does that say about how he felt about Seattle?
You got to put a lot of faith in John Schneider and Mike McDonald. John said, we're not going to do anything that hurts the team. The team is number 1, the player is number 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Who has some of the best deals on new Fords and Isuzus in the Pacific Northwest? Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Who has a large selection of the highest quality used vehicles in the Pacific Northwest? Wayscar Ford in Auburn. What dealership promises no games, no gimmicks, and never any pressure to purchase? Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Who is the only Ford dealer in all of Washington to offer a 5-day or 500-mile, no questions asked, 100% money-back return policy? You're getting really good at this. It's Wayscar Ford in Auburn. They offer a free lifetime powertrain warranty on virtually all their new Fords. How about this one? Who's the only dealer that will purchase your used car, pay you right up front, and then once they resell your old car, return 50% of the profit back to you? Only Wayscar Ford in Auburn. In fact, they've given back over $750,000 to customers who have sold them their cars. And finally, what dealership has been family-owned and operated in Auburn for 103 years? You guessed it, Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Visit them at wayscarford.com.
We at 3 Tree Roofing understand that your home is your castle. That's why our certified technicians use state-of-the-art installation methods to deliver the highest warranties available. Check out our hundreds of online reviews and schedule a free estimate to see for yourself. 3 Tree Roofing, your Puget Sound roofing experts.
Through March 31st, save double your sales tax from Lake Washington Windows and Doors. Plus, enjoy easy 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest, same as cash, 12-month financing. Visit LakeWashingtonWindows.com to save double today.
Welcome to Staples.
I hear Staples prints it all for any business.
You bet, and we'll beat any print quote.
So if I had a pizza place...
Staples can print signs, menus, pizza boxes.
A landscaping business?
Oh, we can print yard signs, T-shirts, brochures.
How about a pizza/landscaping business? I'll call it Dough and Mo.
I like it.
Right now at Staples, get up to $250 off your print purchase. Ends 4/5, exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for offer details. Price match guarantee valid in store and staples.com/print. Visit staples.com/price match for details.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to the A to Z savings event at AutoZone.
Yeah, happy to be here. Can I get some rotors?
Would you like brake pads with that?
How much are the brake pads?
Free with the rotors.
Free. Really?
Really, free.
Okay, I also need some oil.
Would you like an oil filter with that?
Yeah, how much is that?
Free with 5 quarts of oil.
Free? Really?
Really, free. It's part of the A to Z savings event.
You might as well call it A to free.
At AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
What if your business could see beyond what is and into what can be? What if you could create more impact in every decision? What if you had a partner as visionary as you are? With Bank of America, you get access to our trusted experts, real-time insights, and digital tools. So whether you run a local shop or a global enterprise, you're backed by business solutions to make every move matter. What would you like the power to do? Find out how at bankofamerica.com/banking for business. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
What was that?
That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud Phone System. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very...
Calm, I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
Window Nation customers have been singing our praises for years. With fast, local service and an industry-leading 96% customer satisfaction rating, it's no wonder.
I researched window companies for the last year to see what the average prices were and the quality of work. Window Nation nailed both.
Get 2 windows free with every 2 you buy. Pay no interest for 2 full years. Hurry, this offer ends soon. Schedule a free estimate now. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. That's 866-90-NATION.
You're free now. Free to stream beyond your wildest dreams.
Rom-coms, slasher-coms, space operas.
Free to fill your feed with impossibly chonky chonkers.
Cats, corgis, babies on demand.
Free to make your smart devices do silly things.
Bowl of chips on the Robo-Vacuum.
Free to open a world of remote work and Gametopia.
Who's the boss now?
Free to be everything you imagine. That's how it feels to have Quantum Fiber Internet. Your world unleashed. Learn more at quantumfiber.com.
Limited availability, service in select locations only.
Hey, Brock Ewart here with my buddy Dave Taylor from First Mark Insurance. You know, Dave, I love sport. You love sport. And I love sitting with coaches and hearing their game plan each and every week. What are the keys to a First Mark Insurance game plan?
It's a great question, Brock. I think there's really 3 keys to a great game plan with us. Number 1 is we want to make sure that our clients have the correct coverage for their unique specific needs. So that's number 1. Do you have the right coverage? Number 2, once we have the right coverage, are we getting that coverage at the most competitive price possible? And then last and not least would be, once we have the right coverage at the most competitive price, are we providing world-class service to those customers so that when they need it, they have someone there that's got their back?
Those are the 3 keys to a First Mark Challenge victory. And man, am I so glad Molly and I took the challenge. We are one of so many through a decade plus of being a First Mark Challenge victory. You can too. Just simply go to firstmarkinsurance.com. Firstmarkinsurance.com.
This is The Timeline
with Bump and Stacy.
brought to you by 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
It is The Timeline on Bump and Stacy, going through the top stories you're going to see and hear about on your own timeline, meaning we're taking a jump outside of Seattle for a little bit. We'll start with this one. Don't ask West Virginia head football coach Rich Rodriguez to film a TikTok of anyone anytime soon.
I mean, they're going to be on it, so I'm not banning them from it. I'm just banning them from dancing on it. You know, it's like we try to have a hard edge, whatever, and you're in there in your tights dancing on TikTok. Ain't quite the image of our program that I want. But I told the team today, I said, everything today is about trying to make everybody individual. It's all about the individual. It's all about the individual. And I said, football is one of the last things that was got to be more about the team than the individual. And so I banned dancing on TikTok. I guess I did that. But anything that doesn't look like our program should look, I mean, I think it's just, come on. Really? I mean, and I'm allowed to do that, I guess. I can have rules. Now, when they, like I said, 20 years from now, they want to be sitting in their pajamas in the basement, eating Cheetos and watching TikTok or whatever the hell, they can go at it. Smoking cannabis, whatever. I mean, knock yourself out. But the hope or focus can be on winning football games. How about let's win the football game and not worry about winning the TikTok.
Winning the TikTok.
If they want to sit in their pajamas, eating Cheetos in a basement, watching TikTok videos, first of all, sign me up. I would do that every day for hours every day. This is a very Footloose vibe from Rich Rodriguez. Banning dancing, no dancing allowed, but I can't really be mad at him. I kind of get why for a head coach, he'd be like, stop it. I hate this. I hate this focus on like clout or silly things when I want to be a tough program. Like, I get what he's saying.
I get what he's saying. I'm not even mad at him neither, because dancing on TikTok is like one of the softest things you can do. Like, you're vulnerable, you're putting yourself out there. And the way they dance these days, there's a lot of hips, there's a lot of motion going on.
Not real dancing.
It looks like we gonna beat y'all, you know what, on Saturday. They over there making TikToks. Now, it's a cultural thing. They're growing up at different times. Obviously, these kids, they just live different. But I'm not mad at that at all, because I want my team to be tough. I want them to be disciplined. I want them to be focused. They're just growing up in different times. So I get what he's doing. I appreciate it, because I'm an old school type of guy. But they're going to be dancing on TikTok.
Can I say a very old person complaint? One of the things that I always hear my Gen Z kings and queens say about millennials is millennials don't know how to dance, or millennials like dance like in dumb ways, their arms up, they snap, they do a side to side, like whatever it is. The difference is we never made like dance videos, choreography dance videos.
We dance with people.
Exactly. So I know what choreography is.
Yeah.
I am not incapable of choreography, but now, I don't know how, again, my Gen Z kings and queens, I don't know how they dance. I don't even know if they go to clubs. I don't think they do. I don't know how they dance when they're with other people, but I will tell you, you will look ridiculous doing a choreographed dance in a group of people.
I want you to go to a wedding, all right, where there's all types of people at a wedding. And you go out and break out one of your tiki-taki dances and see how that's received. Also, I asked my son, he went to homecoming this year in Tolo, right? He's a freshman in high school. And I go, how was it? So it was cool. I go, you guys dance? He goes, yeah, we're dancing. I go, did you dance with any girls? And he's like, nah. I go, whoa. Homecoming Tolo, you didn't dance with no girls? I go, so what does dancing look like? He goes, groups in their own little group just jumping around, dancing and stuff. I go, all right, man.
Different generation.
I got a lot to teach you. You need to feel the rejection of a girl looking back at you to see if you're cute. And being like, nah, I'm good. That builds character. It builds character.
Makes you stronger.
You need to feel that.
That's what I'm saying. You need to have the moment of realizing, like, oh, what am I doing right now? Like, everything, this dance is so, like, you can't, it's just, you know what, though? Like, again, there are so many things that I do, like, love. It just tickles me about a younger generation. Like, I don't get, like, annoyed per se, but there are things where I go, man, are things different, which is a newer feeling for me. I've only been feeling that for like 5 6 years. But so people that are older have been feeling it for a long time. And, you can kind of be couched between generations sometimes where you're like, there are things people look at me for and go like, oh, I could, stupid millennials.
Yeah, I'm sure. They look at us and talk their talk too.
Yeah.
But you know what? Y'all got some time. Okay, we're established.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So stop dancing. No more dancing. No, you can still dance. Just maybe don't tell your head coach. Next up, Texas women's basketball head coach Vic Schaefer gave UT student reporters a cool shout out during his post-game press conference for making the 16-hour drive from Austin to Greenville, South Carolina.
So if I'm not mistaken, are y'all my three that drove 16 hours?
Yes, sir.
I want y'all to know when it comes time to get a job, you put me on your resume. That's really unique. And I'm proud that you guys are here, and I'm proud that you take enough pride in your job that you would do that, because you don't have to do that. And I think people need to know that. So thank you for being here.
I love that so much.
I appreciate the reference, but I'd prefer a job. Like
you can't give
put
them
you
a
down as
job.
a reference, like, hey man, hook me up. You know someone who's hiring? That's how you help them out. Put me down on your resume. Okay, that sounds good.
It's the entitlement of this millennial generation.
It sounds good. No, hook me up with give me an interview. Putting someone down on your resume, that's great. And I'm sure they're gonna see the name and be like, oh my God, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But you really want to help them kids out? Get them an interview. Now, it's up to them whether they kill the interview or not. But get them an interview. I appreciate this, but there's a little more that
maybe his name does get them an interview. Like maybe a UT student reporter putting down Vic Schaefer on their resume and in an email saying, Vic Schaefer recommended that you interview me. Like maybe someone goes, okay.
All right.
Okay.
I see that. I see that angle. I see that angle. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I just think it's really cool. And I can absolutely see, it's so funny. We're listening to back-to-back two head coaches, and they both have, I'm sure, a similar mentality of like not liking certain things, liking other things. I can completely understand why an old school head coach would see this student reporter making a 16-hour drive to cover his team and be like, that's dedication I can respect.
Yeah.
Like, I think that actually means something to someone with that mentality.
It does mean something. It also means something if your coach asks you not to do the tiki-taki dances. And someone's like, oh, these kids are going to tune you out. I go, they might, but they might not. Because I've also coached kids who are of this generation.
Yeah.
And I coach with discipline. Like, I am a bit strict. And they respond to me. So I think that if they know that you love and care about them and are bought into the vision of your program, they're gonna abide.
Also, I'm sorry, but like different environments have different rules. Like when I was in high school, we couldn't have purses or backpacks between classes. We had to leave them in our locker. Like you can't wear certain things.
Really?
We couldn't do certain things.
You can have backpacks?
No, you had to leave all.
We didn't have backpacks either.
Yeah, you had to leave backpacks. I think it was just like maybe a security thing. But you couldn't have purses. You couldn't have backpacks. You had to leave everything in your locker and only carry your books. But like it's a poor example. But what I mean is there are going to be certain things where you're like, this is stupid and inconvenient. I don't like this. But like, really? That's going to ruin your whole day because you can't do one thing that you would normally do.
Maybe.
Like, so you can't make a TikTok video dancing. So you're going to be like, this isn't worth it to me. It's one thing you can't do for a short period of time. Really? Who cares? It's just weird. Let's see. I have time. Do I have time for one more story? Yes, absolutely. Former NBA player Junior Bridgman died Tuesday at the age of 71. His post-playing career is one of the greatest success stories of all time. So let's take definitely a minute to focus on this. Bridgman played for the Bucks and Clippers for 12 seasons between 75 and 87, made $2.9 million total in his playing career, never more than $350,000 in a single season. He used his earnings to become one of the most successful restaurant franchises ever, owning 450 restaurants nationwide. He became a Coca-Cola bottling distributor, was later able to purchase Ebony and Jet magazine and a 10% stake in the Milwaukee Bucks. Ended up with a net worth over $1.4 billion at the time of his passing. That's
how you flip that.
How you flip it.
That's how you flip that. You cut that, flip that, you make that into two, you bring that, make it into four. That's what my man did. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Junior, setting an amazing example for people everywhere. Coming up next, a former Seahawks quarterback sounds fun, a current Seahawks quarterback. Don't go anywhere.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk. Weekdays 6 to 10.
How do I feel? I feel content. Once again, Mike McDonald is shaping this team in the image that he wants it.
I like the price.
I like the leadership and the relationships with the teammates.
You like a guy that's been on 5 teams?
No, I don't love that there's kind of a high floor, limited ceiling.
One thing you have to add to your list of what you like about this, A, 27, but more importantly, B, he knows the system inside and out.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
If you've been in a wreck or a fender bender,
you have the right to take your vehicle to any repair facility, not just where your insurance company tells you to go. Accurate Auto Body has been family owned and operated since 1994, and they work for you, not your insurance company. With over 25 years of auto repair work, they'll exceed your expectations.
we meet by accident, fixing every last bit. Accurate Auto Body.
At Accurate Auto Body, all their work is performed by certified technicians, only using OEM parts to guarantee the safety of you and your family. For the best in auto body collision repair and customer service, give them a call at 425-883-2450 or AccurateAutoBodyWA.com. Your insurance company may not love them, but you will, because
we meet by accident, fixing every last bit. Accurate Auto Body.
Hi, Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. For over 55 years, you've trusted us for roofing, siding, windows, decking, and gutters. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to schedule a free estimate. State Roofing and Exteriors.
Looking for a smart way to improve your home comfort without breaking the bank? 2 words, heat pump. John Curley here. Upgrade to Home Comfort Alliance Heat Pump and get efficient heating in the winter and cooling in the summer in 1 unit. Heat pumps use less energy and are environmentally friendly. Plus, enjoy 18 months, same as cash financing, and up to 15% off all heat pumps and air conditioning systems through March. Home Comfort Alliance for all your heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs. Visit homecomfortalliance.com.
Hey, it's Jason Rantz. Our local tax expert Greg Nunn wants taxpayers to know the IRS is now going after older cases very aggressively. If you received Form CP-504 from the IRS, do not ignore it. Be proactive and resolve your situation with Greg Nunn, N-U-N-N, None Better Tax Resolution.
Jackson Hewitt wants you to save money on tax prep. We're saving money by having our intern rap in this commercial.
Don't stress, Jackson Hewitt's got expert tax prep, 149 or less. Yo, some tax guys lie about price. What? They got hidden fees, that ain't nice. Ain't nice. Don't ignore MC Kevin's rhyme, cause this deal's for a limited time. 149.
For tax prep that's $149 or less, hurry into Jackson Hewitt today.
No cap.
Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to the A to Z savings event at AutoZone.
Yeah, happy to be here. Can I get some rotors?
Would you like brake pads with that?
How much are the brake pads?
Free with the rotors.
Free. Really?
Really, free.
Okay, I also need some oil.
Would you like an oil filter with that?
Yeah, how much is that?
Free with 5 quarts of oil.
Free? Really?
Really, free. It's part of the A to Z savings event.
You might as well call it A to free.
At AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
This is the story of the one. As a quality technician in a food processing center, she knows that making the right call is the best way to avoid a recall. That's why she trusts Grainger's world-class supply chain to deliver the high-quality supplies she needs to help keep her production line, her equipment, and her customers happy and healthy. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Watch your favorite show live at seattlesports.com.
The Gene Simmons Band, live Tuesday, April 8th at Muckleshoot Event Center. He's the God of Thunder. He's going to rock and roll all night and bring you an unforgettable night of head-banging rock and roll. Get tickets now at muckleshootcasino.com. The Gene Simmons Band, only at Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
Swedish CyberKnife has been serving the Pacific Northwest with innovative and compassionate care since 2006. Being able to precisely and accurately deliver radiation makes a difference in terms of controlling cancer and reducing the risk of side effects. The treatment is completed in only 5 sessions, lasting less than an hour. Patient surveys consistently give Swedish CyberKnife the highest of rankings. Swedish.org/CyberKnife Prostate. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish CyberKnife.
Hey guys, did you know that half of men over age 50 have erectile dysfunction on some level? Whether you have mild, moderate, or severe ED, West Coast Men's Health can help. We don't prescribe pills and hope they work. Instead, we treat the root cause of the problem with acoustic wave therapy, which breaks down plaque, unclogs arteries, and restores blood flow. We have treated thousands of men across our 11 locations nationwide and have established ourselves as a leader in the industry. So whether you have ED, Peyronie's disease, or suffer from chronic pain, such as neuropathy, carpal tunnel, or Dupuytren's contracture, West Coast Men's Health can help. No pills, no shots, no surgery, just results.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call West Coast Men's Health at 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Can I make a quick complaint before we move on?
Of course.
I get an iced coffee almost every single morning. I'm trying to cut back so that I don't become poor.
Hold on. I get an iced coffee almost every single morning. I'm trying to cut back.
I get an iced coffee almost every single morning, period. I'm trying to cut back, comma, I have not. What's annoying is when you drink not using a straw, pieces of ice always come out, and I just think Starbucks should do like lids that have cages on it or something to keep the ice from coming out. I just figured I'd use my platform.
Okay.
I figured I'd use my platform for good this morning. Am I not wrong? Am I not right? Am I not right?
That could be developed. We
Thank
have
you.
scientists that have developed seedless watermelon.
Thank you, Curtis.
Like, I think it could be done.
Thank you for the support, my friend,
Yes.
Curtis Rogers.
Hey.
Matt and Bump, I'm very disappointed in you guys. I just wanted to share a part of my ideas this morning before we get to more Seahawks news.
If you get it going, I'll invest.
Yeah,
Sharks.
a little ice cage. That's all I'm
Sharks,
saying.
this is my pitch.
Yeah. Hi, Sharks. So I get a nice coffee every single morning. I'm trying to quit.
For 1% stake in this company, I'm looking for $10 billion.
Plastic cages is what I'm looking for. I'll stop. Matt Hasselbeck was on Brock and Salk this morning talking about, of course, the Seahawks quarterback situation. I want to know what a former Seahawks quarterback who knows a ton about this league, knows a ton about what it takes to succeed in this league, thinks about what John Schneider is doing and thinks about Sam Darnold. We'll start with his take on Darnold.
Number one, I think everyone's surprised that Geno's not back in Seattle. I think he was expected to be back there. And if Pete Carroll wasn't back in the NFL, I think Geno is still on the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks were comfortable with Geno, but it's been a shift. Obviously, you see the move. They changed the offensive coordinator. They changed the wide receivers. They're changing the quarterback. You can definitely tell that Mike McDonald has a different vision for where he wants to go with this team. And, so they made the change. And for me, if you are making the change, then I think Sam Darnold was the perfect guy.
If you are making the change, I think Sam Darnold was the perfect guy, at least for kind of making that pivot. Do you agree?
Yeah. It's a smaller bridge with a potential to be a great highway after the bridge, right? Like if he ends up working out 3 years, 55 guaranteed, about 33 and a half per year, you're looking good. You are looking great because he's younger and he showed you that there is potential there. I'm listening to Hasselbeck talking. He says, look, he's not afraid, or Mike McDonald isn't afraid to make some changes. So as soon as he said that, I pictured Mike McDonald in a room with a blank canvas and he's making some brush strokes and he's stepping back and looking at it, like, well, let me see that. He's making a few strokes, stepping back and looking at it. That I can appreciate because he's 37 years of age. He's taking over an organization and he's making it his. Maybe he was forced to make it his. Maybe he wanted Geno. Maybe he wanted to keep DK. But at some point, you got to realize, all right, things are changing. What am I going to do? Obviously, John Schneider plays a big role in it. But I can appreciate that because that takes a lot of, to kind of just flip everything and make this whole thing yours.
There are a lot of people. Greg Rosenthal was one of them. We listened to that cut earlier today of Greg Rosenthal saying, Geno Smith is better than Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is a downgrade from Geno Smith. I get saving money, but you are less likely to compete this year. That was Greg Rosenthal's take. Hasselbeck doesn't quite see it that way.
No, I think the Seahawks did the right thing. When you go through a contract negotiation as a player, usually your agent is talking to the team, and then you're not usually talking numbers at the beginning. You're talking people. You're talking comparables. Very similar to like in real estate when you're buying a house. You're comparing like this property and that property to your property. So like at least when I was in contract negotiations, it was always like, hey, I want Chad Pennington money. And they're like, well, you're not getting Chad Pennington money. You're getting like Mark Bulger money, and then you're like, what? You're giving me Mark Bulger money? Like sometimes players can get offended in that process.
Do you think Geno might have gotten offended in that? Like, do you think Geno thinks he's worth more than he is, or do you think he's just worth more than the Seahawks are comfortable paying?
Well, the rumors is that they offered him 40 and he didn't counter and he just dipped up out of there.
Yeah.
So I don't know how accurate that is as far as it relates to Geno, but I think Matt is absolutely right. Sometimes you think you're worth something, then you sit down at the table and they're like, actually, we think you're worth this, and you get offended, and that's where relationships come in. So I don't know the specifics because we were not there. Right. Rumor has it that the Hawks offered him exactly what he's getting over there with the Raiders, but he just wanted to change the DK situation. There might have been some devaluing going on there when it came to the contract.
You know how many ice cage lids you could buy for $40 million?
A bunch.
A lot.
Hundreds of thousands.
Someone else texted in and said, I love getting those little pieces of ice I can crunch up in my mouth. Well, I have sensitive teeth and I don't.
I do. I like it too.
I mean, it's fine, like one or two, but now I can't take a single drink of the rest of my iced coffee without getting ice cubes. And I just think.
Pierce your lips.
What? No.
Pierce them.
No, I want to, let me drink coffee the way I want to drink coffee. I want little cubes, but I don't want them to go through the cup opening.
So then put an
ice cage.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly. Moving on. Let's talk about the fit of Sam Darnold in Kubiak's system. More from Hasselbeck.
Who is Clint Kubiak? Clint Kubiak, obviously, you know the system that he runs. It's very similar to the system that Darnold's coming from, but also he does an excellent job of protecting the quarterback, not having a lot of sack, all the kinds of things that sort of, I think, plagued a guy like Sam Darnold early in his career. Clint Kubiak is sort of like the perfect remedy for what he experienced on the bad side. He's got all the good in terms of what his skill set is and what they think of him.
Bump, this is the part of this move for Seattle that's most interesting to me and that I think I maybe know least about, and this is where we're kind of turning to you for your analysis. My gut tells me Geno was so good under pressure. From what I hear, Sam Darnold has struggled under pressure. Wow, that makes me nervous about this offensive line. What I'm not considering, and what maybe some people aren't, is a Kubiak system with Geno versus Sam, and how maybe for Sam that's a good fit.
A Kubiak system is going to move the pocket, and it will max protect, meaning you can have two tight ends in the game and they ain't going nowhere. They are in there, they are blocking. Then you add your running back to the situation. It also takes the need to have an A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith out of there because you're only going to have like two receiver combinations. Obviously it's nice to have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, but you're looking at the way the run game will be connected to the pass game and the pass protection, and you're looking at the receiver position and you're saying, all right, we don't need to be extremely deep at that position. So move in the pocket, play action boot, max protection, something that we didn't see a lot in a Ryan Grubb offense.
All right, let's see if we have one more. This is Hasselbeck talking about kind of the evolution of Darnold. I know that we look at last season as like, well, what if it's just an outlier? What if he's never able to do that again? And then talked about like you can learn a lot entering the league so young.
Yeah, you learn from all of it. Like even like my career is over, and people bring up like all these things like, oh, I remember this game. It's like they bring up all the good stuff. I don't even remember the good stuff. All I remember are like sort of the failures and the learning lessons and the things I learned. Those are the things that I remember. Like, if you remind me of the good stuff, like, oh, yeah, you're right about that. But I remember the lessons learned. And so, like, I just think that he's learned. He probably won't say I'm chasing ghosts. I was seeing ghosts at the press conference anymore. Like, he'll remember going up against certain defensive coordinators like, oh, hey, don't fall for that trap again. Like, he's just weathered all these storms. He's learned how to be a better leader. He's been around people, like Josh McCown, like Kyle Shanahan, like all the people.
It's actually reminded me a lot of your point from yesterday about how you can't look at Sam as a finished product, nor can you look at Sam or Geno as the initial product that they were with the Jets.
Yeah, it's a progression. Every quarterback, every player in the NFL, if you make it X amount of years, I mean, you're learning, right? The guys who don't learn or just aren't good enough physically are gone after 3 years. So even if he didn't get the reps that you would have liked him to have gotten, he's been around this stuff. I'm talking about Sam Darnold now, and he still has a lot more to learn. Whereas, like Matt said, Geno, I mean, he's been to the lowest of the lows, and he's weathered the storm.
The latest on Mitch Garver, Matt Brash, Jorge Polanco. Next with Mariners insider Shannon Drayer.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
Why I like the Sam Darnold deal, and why the more we talked to it this morning on the show, it just made more and more sense to me, and why everybody, I think, in the league kind of felt like, yep, this made a lot of sense for John Schneider and the Seahawks.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
A deal that's similar to Geno's 3 years ago, similar to Baker Mayfield's, gives this team plenty of still cap room and opportunity, both in this draft and throughout the rest of the offseason. I think it's a win-win all the way around.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen. And PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request a complimentary design and estimate consultation at 425-629-8476 or project ideas. Explore photos at pcfgroup.com. That's 425-629-8476.
Over the past decade, Washington state politicians have doubled state spending with no improvements to the issues we care about. Instead, we now have the third highest cost of living in the nation and a $12 billion deficit. It's time to tell legislators we need better results, not bigger taxes. Act now at affordablewashington.org. Paid for by people for an affordable Washington and Olympia, Washington. Top 5 donors are Washington Alliance for Competitive Economy, Microsoft, Madrona, T-Mobile, and Alaska Air.
Through March 31st, save double your sales tax from Lake Washington Windows and Doors. Plus, enjoy easy zero down, zero payments, and zero interest, same as cash, 12-month financing. Visit LakeWashingtonWindows.com to save double today.
Safety comes first. When money is tight, Buc-ee's has you covered with available financing. For oil changes, wiper blades, brakes, tire rotation, tune-ups, and factory maintenance, it's Buc-ee's Complete Auto. No appointment necessary and financing's available. Check Buc-ee's.com for the location near you.
Febreze.
It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now all you have to worry about is Pam cheating at charades.
Breathe happy, Febreze. La 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 la.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-838-6161. That's 800-838-6161. 800-838-6161.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later. Here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home and make price-boosting upgrades with no cost until close. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
At Shane Company, we love a spring engagement, but you might be wondering, how do I find the perfect engagement ring? As a trusted family jeweler since 1929, we get asked this a lot. We have a wide selection of ring settings, like vintage designs with romantic details, floral settings inspired by nature, and classic styles with clean lines and sleek metals. Dreaming of the most beautiful diamond you've ever seen? At Shane Company, we handpick only the sparkliest center stones in all shapes and sizes, from oval to round to marquise, and more. We have gorgeous natural and lab-grown diamonds at competitive prices, in-store, ready to compare side by side. Drawn to certain colors? We're known for our rainbow of vivid natural sapphires, including shades of blue, straight out of a fairy tale, handpicked by our owner, Tom Shane. At Shane Company, we have the best free lifetime warranty that includes the center stone, plus resizing, repairs, and cleanings for life. Visit us at shaneco.com or in store. No appointment necessary. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Chiefs created a ton of cap room this morning, about $50 million worth, by restructuring contracts of Patrick Mahomes and Chris Jones. This is actually the fourth time Mahomes has reworked his contract in terms of average annual value. His now 12th among all players in the NFL. The Seahawks made their second signing of free agency, and it addresses a big area of need. Per Tom Pelissero, veteran wide receiver Marquez Valdez-Scantling will sign with the Seahawks on a one-year deal worth up to $5.5 million. Another receiver on the move. This one was expected. Also, per Tom Pelissero, the Rams have informed Cooper Kupp he will be released today.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Let's head to Peoria. Mariners insider Shannon Drayer joining us now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. As a reminder, Shannon's coverage for Mariners spring training is presented by Pacific Lamp and Supply. Hi, Shannon. How's it going?
Oh, we're having a great day. This is one of those ones that you really look forward to, and a lot of different things can happen. It's been like a three-ring circus in camp today. Adam Ray, I think you all know him, comedian, good friend of the station, good friend of the Mariners, out here filming. He was actually taking ground balls at third base during infield practice, got to get into the cage during batting practice, and hit a little bit, so of course chaos ensued. He also was in the morning meeting and roasted every Mariner, and apparently it was hilarious. Then you turn around and Randy Johnson is here. It's been, I think, about 10 years since he has been in camp, and he is a presence. But he really took the opportunity to talk with the starters, talked with George Kirby, talked with Logan Gilbert, and Logan walked over to him and told him, hey, you are one of my favorite pitchers of all time. And Randy looked at Logan and went, how tall are you? Pretty similar right there, and he was telling all the starters about, his chat that he had with Nolan Ryan when he was a young pitcher and what Nolan Ryan told him and the impact it had on his career. And then if all of that isn't enough, Matt Brash threw his first live batting practice about 10 minutes ago. And it was not a full-on. They didn't want him going 100%. But he was close. He was 93 to 95 with the fastball. The command was pretty good. The breaking ball looked very good. So he just continues to progress, and very encouraging was the words Justin Hollander gave to describe the session. So just a ton of things that we haven't even gotten to the game yet. And from what I understand, it sounds like there's a little bit of a gag gift for Rick Riz up in the booth. I'm guessing they found him a helmet.
Shannon, you just painted such a beautiful picture right now. Like, I see all the stuff you're talking about in my head, and the thing that sticks out to me is seeing Randy. I mean, what was the motivation? Is having the rotation that they have? Was it Dan? Was it Edgar? Like, what do you think was the motivation for him finally getting there after, 10 years, you say?
Yeah, I think it was actually John Stanton who did that. And they like to have the players in, and we see a lot of them every day here. And you look at, they've got a big poster that says memorable, or a big mural up on the back wall here, and it's got just the Mariners Hall of Famers and some others. And at any time you can see them walking through. A lot of the pictures that you see on the walls are, in spring training, and they're helping out. And Kevin Martinez, I think, was involved in that as well. They like Randy. They want Randy around. They believe that, he has things he likes to teach. He is definitely a good talker and a good teacher, and he is hard to miss at 6'10". And it just great to see him down. Now, Dan ended up, I think he was talking to him for at least a half an hour while batting practice was going on, and that was quite a sight to see. But then also just to see the young pitchers come up to him, there are things to be learned. I mean, he played at a different time in a different era, but there are things to be learned. And you take a look at a Logan Gilbert, and of course he's going to ask some questions. And George Kirby, of course, had some questions too. So just a neat thing that they were able to get him back in camp. And he does so many things right now. He is one of those ones that after he retired got into a lot of different things. He's got a coffee table book coming out. He's a photographer, does a lot of wildlife photography and some rock band photography. He actually toured with Rush for a little while and was kind of one of their photographers. And also, used to play the drums. Said he doesn't play as much anymore, but just really kind of an interesting guy who stays active in baseball. He is on the Diamondback staff. He's, I think, a special assistant type deal for him, but always good to see Randy Johnson.
I had heard that Junior had been out there earlier. Is the presence of former Mariners greats something that's kind of always been there during spring training, or is this something a little new?
You try. I mean, Junior usually at least once during spring training will show up. I think we're going to see him again, if not today, in the next couple of days. And Edgar was on staff, so you'd always see him. Buhner was here earlier this camp, and he's coming back, I'm told. I do think there's a little bit more with Dan Wilson, as they have, obviously we're all teammates, and really care about this organization, and they want to do anything that they can do to kind of get them over the hump and get them to the playoffs. So you see that when you talk to them, and Ichiro was always here, for goodness sakes, but it's as much as it hurts the fans not seeing the Mariners make it to the postseason, I think it hurts them too, and I think they take it a little personally because that's the jersey that they wore. So it's not uncommon to see them, and it's usually in a capacity of helping somehow.
Is that something you see with other organizations, or is this a special deal here?
You can. I haven't been around many other camps because I'm stuck here. But, the one time I snuck out to go to Dodger camp about 6-7 years ago, there was Sandy Koufax. I think the history of the game, it's good to have those players around. There are some organizations that don't like doing that, and there have been times when the Mariners under different managers didn't want to do that, and kind of we need to focus on us a little bit more, but that's actually kind of rare. There's usually been a good representation of some of the past greats of this team, and I thought it was kind of neat that Michael Saunders is kind of one of the newest, and he's got a job with the organization as organizational base running coach, and so it's neat to see that all of a sudden you are seeing some of the younger generation, and not going all the way back to the 90s to see guys who were instrumental in what this team did. So they like their past, they like their history, and I think it seems like an open door. If you want to come in and help, come on in.
I know that for a while with Jorge Polanco, it was just waiting to see that he could get out there following knee surgery. Then it was waiting to see kind of that transition to third, and now he's finally playing third. What have you seen from him in spring since making that transition?
Well, he's kind of watching what happens after he plays, and there's still a little bit of knee soreness here or there, but he says that's not out of the ordinary, especially after having a surgery, and it's a good soreness that he's feeling. It's never been to a point where he couldn't go the next time he has been on the roster, so that's good. What we saw today, and I don't think we've seen this yet in camp, is on infield drills he was running in on the slow roller, and he was making the throw and the stop. The stop and the start is kind of the big thing for him with the knee, and that looked good. Of course, Adam Ray was over there too, so anything in comparison looked good to what he was doing over at third base. But good to see him bounce back, and so far, so good along those lines.
Dom looks a bit different, Shannon. Why? What's he got going on with those glasses? Is that a corrective thing? Is it a style thing? Walk me through it.
It's very dry down here in the desert, and his contacts didn't feel comfortable, so he's wearing the glasses instead down here. So there's nothing tricky there. You know, he has always had great power, and it's going to be interesting because there is not a space on this roster for him right now. But to me, I would think he would be the first outfielder up if they needed an outfielder. And you know, he's been kind of very patient. He's in a tough spot. It's hard to have been on the team and then probably not a spot right now, but he has put up a nice showing.
I know that the tone around the team, I don't want to say from all fans, but certainly from a large portion of the fan base, was one of confusion, frustration. What's the tone around the team and from players in the time that you've been there?
They try and tune all that out. And, you know, it's an interesting thing in that, of course, you always want help if that help is available. Nobody doesn't want a good baseball player, a good hitter, a good pitcher on their team. But there is also two things: a huge belief. You know, these guys have been together now for almost, you know, I'm kind of getting into long time territory with some of them. And they believe in their teammates. But there's also, I think, Cal Raleigh, you can take him out of the equation in that. But just about everybody offensively knows that they had, you know, some of the poorest years they've had, you know, as individuals, and uncharacteristic in some places. And I think that there is an element of wanting that bounce back, wanting to be able to prove that, yeah, that was not me last year. And so along those lines, getting the opportunity, which is something we really haven't seen with this team, particularly when it comes to free agents, is if something hasn't worked out in the first year that it's been here, usually that player is dealt and you don't see them again. Well, this time they really are running it back, and we'll see how that works out. But, you know, there are a lot of adjustments to be made when you're first year with a team. It can be tougher if you came from the only team you've ever played for. It can be tougher if you have a family. It can be tougher if you're dealing with an injury throughout that also. There's kind of, you know, that feeling of second life for some of them, and they want to prove that, you know, you came after me, you signed me, you traded me because this is what I was supposed to be. And I think, you know, to a man, those who faltered last year believe it's in there.
What's the latest on Mitch? Obviously, we heard that the MRIs came back negative. What's his activity like? What's his role now, and what do you see in the future?
It looks good for him. I'm sure you've heard he's had a good spring training, and you don't want to read much, if anything, into it as far as performance goes, because spring training numbers are spring training numbers, and things change drastically when you get north. But the one thing is yes, he has looked different, and he feels good about himself at the plate right now, and that's important. That is actually worth something. I think the good news is today he said he was about 80%. I saw his hand, his wrist. There is some bruising, there is some swelling, but he believes that with the treatment that they get here that he's going to be able to get that out, and he might be able to hold the bat tomorrow. He did a bunch of drills with the catchers today, like full drills. So, you know, this isn't one of those cases where he's spending all the time in the training room or that they have to stabilize anything even for a few days. He's been doing just about everything. He's just not swinging the bat right now. And he is the backup catcher. And it is something that, you know, he's proclaimed himself the backup catcher, which for a guy who's been an everyday player for most of his career, interesting to hear him say that. But I think, he loves catching. He came into camp this year knowing he was going to catch. This time last year, he came into camp as the DH, you know, and he himself said that he was going to go out there and work with the catchers as much as he can because he wanted to keep that up because that's how he sees himself. He is a catcher. Well, this year, you know what? It's on his plate, and it was something he could prepare for and somewhere where he could put his mind other than hitting, and I think that helps him. And the thing that I've noticed is he's catching everybody, whereas last year it was mostly George Kirby. We've seen him catch just about everybody in games so far this year. So, he's set for that. I think we'll see him back in a game in the next couple of days, and we'll see how it translates.
Shannon, you've covered many a spring training, and I'm sure every single year there are guys that make tiny tweaks to their game or what they're doing. Maybe a guy goes to drive line, maybe someone introduces a new pitch or whatever. With Julio in particular, is there anything different this year? Anything you're hearing? What can you tell us about his offseason so far? There's so much pressure to improve this year.
Yeah, I think he did a lot of the things that he has done in the past, and that's kind of interesting because that didn't really get him where he needed to be last year. But I think that he looks at where he was last year as more a product of, getting that hand injury that he got in spring training and having that disrupted to some extent. So, you see him right now, he's hitting the ball hard. All the confidence in the world is there. And I suspect that it wasn't just getting in the gym or working with his hitters guy in the off season that has helped him out. I think it's that he did some other things. Took a trip to Japan. He wanted to spend more time there after getting to go there for the Olympics a few years ago. He did quite a bit with a new charity that he has set up back home in the DR. I think those things kind of help. Different focuses and not just focusing on what you need to do for the season. That work all gets done, but to have something else, I think that actually has been pretty big for him. He had conversations with Edgar Martinez over the winter, and he's been all on board on getting those extra at-bats. And, he looks good. You don't see very many at-bats. We always you're kind of worried when you see him falling over in the batter's box going for that outside pitch. You don't see that very often from him. And also just kind of embracing where they are with the team offense and the kind of offense that they're trying to have. I think it's something that he understands. He understands his part in it. And I just see a Julio that's very comfortable right now. And I think part of that is, experience. He's got 3 years now under his belt. Part of it is maturity. He's a year older, and part of it in that I think he's been able to split his focuses a little bit, and I think that helps.
Last one here, Shannon. Friday is the annual spring breakout game featuring the team's best products. Tell us what we can expect.
Should be a lot of fun. I mean, you've got, by some baseball's best farm system, a lot of those guys are going to be in the lineup, and it's going to be an opportunity to see them all play together. We've seen Cole Emerson, we've seen Harry Ford, we've seen Las Montas in games at different points, usually in the second half of games. Well, now you're going to see them at the start and with the teammates that they'll have. So it'll be interesting. I'm interested to see the pitching that they're going to be facing and see what they're able to do with that, because that's kind of one of the newer things in the game is you see the great stuff at AA. If you make it to AA, you are going to see the same pitching. It's just maybe not going to be as consistent as it is at the big league level. And it's kind of interesting that when they get up to the big leagues now, almost to a man, is there anything you've seen up here that you haven't seen before? And they said, no, it's all in AA. And so it'll be kind of fun to see that against another team, another organization, and some of the names that perhaps you don't get to see as much. So looking forward to it. We are going to broadcast that on the radio. I'm sure it'll be televised as well, but it'll be fun. It'll be the first time that we're doing it on radio.
Again, it'll be on Seattle Sports, and keep an eye on seattlesports.com for the latest from Shannon Drayer out at Mariners spring training. Thanks, Shannon.
Thanks, Shannon.
You got it, guys.
See ya. Let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline number one, Brett Favre is publicly encouraging Aaron Rodgers to sign with the Vikings, calling Minnesota a great place to win. What's the real headline?
Yeah, it's definitely not worth it for the Vikings to sign Rodgers, but if anyone knows how to steal money, it's Brett Favre.
Brett shouldn't do anything in public, in the public eye. Publicly, don't do anything. You just go to your farm, wear your Wranglers. I'm sure Copperfit probably dropped him. He can't do that no more. But he's made some money. Support your family. I don't think he should be doing anything in the public eye. And we all know Aaron Rodgers does what he wants to do anyway. So this is one of the situations where you look at the OG, you nod your head and say thank you for your advice, and you move on and do what you think is best for you. And honestly, to me, that would be going to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
We did not earlier, when talking about this story, talk about Minnesota's quarterback situation. Minnesota had a couple guys backing up initially J.J. McCarthy before he got hurt. They brought in Sam Darnold to be that veteran on a one-year deal. Later, they added Daniel Jones when he was cut by the Giants. They have Brett Rippon there. Well, now Daniel Jones is with Indy. Sam Darnold, obviously, here in Seattle. J.J. McCarthy's the guy. He has to be the guy in Minnesota, but he hasn't played. Like, from a Vikings point of view, Bump, what would you do? Do you just roll with your rookie, throw him out there? He's coming off a season-ending injury. He does not have experience playing at all. Is that too much to throw on his plate, or do you just roll with it?
No, I think it's not too much, but it's on them. Like, they're around this dude. Can he speak the same language? Does he have command of the huddle? Does he understand the offense, the check downs? Can he, on paper and on the grease board, make it make sense to this offensive coordinator to say, we are going to roll with him? But bringing a veteran in is necessary regardless if it's Aaron Rodgers or someone else, because you could get into training camp and maybe he's not as comfortable. Maybe he's not ready to go, so now you do that. The thing with Aaron Rodgers is he's not a great mentor, doesn't have a history of being a great mentor, and I doubt he just wants to be somewhere for 1 year. He won at least a couple years.
Headline number 2. Tiger Woods will miss next month's Masters after rupturing his Achilles. What's the real headline?
Curtis only put this on here to upset Bump again. We broke this story yesterday. We talked about it yesterday. Yet here it is on Headline Rewrites.
Might be back tomorrow.
I don't even have a joke for it.
Man.
I think it's just a running joke only for Curtis.
This is some bullcorn. All right? I needed this for my own viewing pleasure and millions across the world. I had to go back and look at Tiger. Man, he's been through some stuff. 07 ruptured ACL, 08 knee surgery, 09 torn Achilles, 10 neck injury. You got 11 MCL sprain. You got 11 knee is acting up. You got back issues. It's because of the way he trains and how violent his swing is.
Yeah.
You do the same motion over and over and over and over again, it's gonna hurt.
To be fair, his wife had a violent swing too.
She probably has a better swing than him. But no, Tiger, man, I feel for you, dog. Get better. He was like 50 now. He ain't gonna win no more tournaments, but whenever he is on the course, everybody is watching, hoping to see just a little bit of magic. So this is my suggestion. Augusta, get Charlie in there. Charlie Woods, you go in there and get dominated by the rest of the field, but it would be so much fun. But obviously you got to qualify for the Masters. But yeah, man, this one hurts my soul.
Oh, Wally from Snoqualmie on the Mac and Jacks text line. Unlike what Tiger will be doing, this joke is a running joke.
Oh,
Wally!
Dang,
Wally!
Wow.
Even I wasn't that savage. Tiger will run again.
Goodness gracious.
Just not right now. What's next?
Headline Rewrites.
206 said Tiger's wife had a violent swing. She took that club to his
that's
car.
literally what I said. Did no one listen to me?
I commented.
You know
I heard you.
The joke was so highbrow.
It was.
That it went above everyone's head.
I got it. I said her swing was better than Tiger's.
Yeah.
Saved his life, ultimately. Right?
Yeah, ultimately.
Headline 3, the Tigers,
let's go.
or the Tigers. I'm getting mine mixed up. The Seahawks were awarded 3 compensatory picks, bringing their total to 10. What's the real headline?
Schneider's going to be able to get so many running backs. What a draft.
Man, he's going to get a running back. That's for sure. He's going to bring in a running back, an undrafted one as well. That's, that's kind of what he does. But look, you got 10 cracks at this thing. If you can hit on like 4 of these, I'm talking 400, 40% is all I'm asking. If you can hit on 4, preferably an offensive lineman, maybe a DB, you throw a receiver in there and a safety, and I think we're good to go. So 10 shots at us. Go get it.
I'm so intrigued by this draft. My interest level in this draft has skyrocketed. In this offseason has skyrocketed. And I say that knowing that this team could take a step back. I say that knowing that Sam Darnold, maybe he turns into a pumpkin and he doesn't actually continue to improve and the offensive line doesn't get better. Like, I know that there's a world where this season is wildly disappointing, but there's also an offseason like one I haven't seen before, outside of maybe getting Geno Smith in here, but like it's.
But Geno was like, he was already here. It was like, are you going to make him the guy?
Back, as a free agent. Yeah, it's interesting. It feels like, despite Sam Darnold's age being relatively young, that he is kind of a pivot is a little bit of a bridge, that there is a world this year or next where Seattle does try to take a swing at a quarterback.
He's like a floating bridge, you know? He's a floating
Are you still
bridge.
thinking about the bridge? Are
I
you
am
guys
thinking
still
about
thinking
the
about that
bridge.
stupid bridge?
That's Bump's Roman Empire now.
It is.
Curtis, what's your Roman Empire?
Tower cranes. That's always
When
been
you said that,
something.
we had I'm not overestimating, probably 20 texts.
More people texted about that than like
Anything
Marquez
else.
Valdez-Scantling.
Than anything else.
Yeah, they were on. They
Those were
on that
rivaling Geno trade tweets. With just people being like, I've wondered the same thing about tower cranes.
Yeah.
Where'd the first one come from?
Exactly.
How'd it get here?
I don't know.
You know, at one point a few years ago, Seattle had the most active cranes in the country.
I remember that.
Building.
Hang the banner.
Building.
Yeah.
God. And they're never finished building, though.
They never stop.
They're just always there. It just kind of moves to different places. A former Seahawk joins a divisional rival in a wild stat about Marquez Valdez-Scantling. It's coming your way next.
When you're running the hurry up and don't have time for your favorite Seattle sports shows, listen to the podcast on demand.
How about that? Unbelievable. Who would have thought?
Every hour, every interview, every look behind the scenes.
He is your new Seahawks head coach, Mike McDonald.
We want to play a certain way, and you're just going to chisel away at it every day.
Find us on seattlesports.com, the Seattle Sports app, or wherever you get podcasts.
All signs continue to point to it being the right hire.
Never miss a minute of Seattle sports, the home of the Seahawks.
Can you take the power of your home internet almost anywhere? Well, with Xfinity, you can. Do more of what you love in the places you go the most with internet and mobile together. Xfinity built a network that's 99.99% reliable. Plus, Xfinity Mobile has Wi-Fi Power Boost, giving you ultra-fast Wi-Fi at home and on the go. Get the same reliable network in the places you need the most. The coffee shop, the grocery store, or the game. All to power more of what you love, whether you're a gamer, streaming, or work from home. Whatever you're into, you'll love how fast you can do it with Xfinity Internet and Mobile. And now through April 21st, get 300 megabit Xfinity Internet and one unlimited mobile line together for $25 a month for 1 year with no annual contract. And save $1,000 in your first year over Verizon and AT&T. Plus, ask how to get a free premium 5G phone. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra after promo. Regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary. Savings compared to Verizon 5G, Internet plus one unlimited welcome line, and AT&T Internet 300 plus one unlimited starter SL line. Xfinity Internet required. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual savings vary.
Hey you, I knew I'd find you back in the same aisle. What are you looking for today? More fiber, more laxatives, more of the same ways to manage your constipation? Look, if your constipation with belly pain keeps coming back, you may have irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C. Ask your doctor how Linzess can help you get ahead of it.
Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it. Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
We've all been there, sleepless nights, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy knowing we're here for you. BayAlarm.com.
Hey, it's Jason Rantz. Our local tax expert Greg Nunn wants taxpayers to know the IRS is now going after older cases very aggressively. If you received Form CP-504 from the IRS, do not ignore it. Be proactive and resolve your situation with Greg Nunn, N-U-N-N, None Better Tax Resolution.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
I just had Asset Roofing come out and do a full inspection on my roof because I wanted to be proactive and handle any small problems before they became big problems, and they were extremely professional with their communication and recommendations. You really need an expert on your side, and Asset Roofing is on mine. Allow them to work for you, too. You can find out more at AssetRoofingCo.com. That's AssetRoofingCo.com.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
We know choosing the right team to upgrade your windows and doors is a big decision. That's why we deliver a service that treats your home like ours and offer top quality products. Our windows are up to 25% more energy efficient than Energy Star standards, reduce noise by up to 50%, and have low maintenance clean glass technology. Our industry-leading leak armor installation and lifetime warranties mean peace of mind and enjoyment for life. Lake Washington Windows and Doors, a name you can trust. Visit lakewashingtonwindows.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is for you too. Stubborn fat is really hard to get rid of, and then there's all those gimmicky lasers, fat freezing methods, and prescriptions. Imagine a simple solution that takes just one day and provides immediate noticeable results. Introducing ProSculpt. ProSculpt uses air-assisted technology that's safe and gentle yet powerful, delivering instant fat-reducing and skin-tightening results. Performed by board-certified plastic surgeons while fully awake, ProSculpt contours your body with minimal downtime. It's designed to target those problem areas: waistline, neck, face, arms, thighs. ProSculpt gently removes unwanted fat and tightens loose skin with FDA-cleared plasma technology, all in a simple, guaranteed one-day procedure. ProSculpt is one and done. Schedule your free consultation at prosculpt.com for $250 off. For powerful permanent fat removal and skin tightening that works for ladies and you men, it's prosculpt.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Taking a look around the NFL, we're going to start with some Seahawks on the move. Trey Brown is joining a divisional rival. The former Seahawk cornerback is signing a one-year deal with the 49ers. I'm going to combine it with this story for one reason. Another former Seahawk is also on the move. Stone Forsythe, is signing a one-year deal with the Giants. Bump. Both of these players from the same draft class, and it now means that Seattle's entire 21 draft class, which is just 3 players.
D.
Eskridge, your boy D. Eskridge.
He's available too. He's a free agent.
Okay, well, I think it's okay if he.
Just saying.
I think it's
you
fine.
Can bring
to
him
move
back
on.
just to keep 2021 intact.
I think it's on to bigger and better.
Things. Thank you. Yeah, I think it's okay to move on from Eskridge, but it is weird. I mean, it was a really small class, so it's just going to be easier to. Have no more people from this class. It was 3 players. It was a weird class. They didn't have a first-round pick that they used. But, yeah, Brown, Forsythe, and obviously Eskridge prior to these 2 now gone.
And Trey just couldn't really stay healthy. And then when he did get healthy, there was a bunch of competition out there. I think he's going to be fine with the 49ers. They're looking for some help. You got Ward that's gone over there. A bunch of other players who are gone. They're trying to revamp that defense. As far as Forsythe over there, that's not going to make Aaron Rodgers want to go play for the Giants. I mean, it's a good move. It's a backup type of move, and Forsythe has found a way to stay relevant in this league, so good for him. But no, none of these moves are back-breaking, and you're completely concerned. But we do know that with a Trey Brown move, you have to draft a DB. Last year, DJ James didn't make the roster. Nehemiah Pritchard was a special team guy for a little bit. Did get 1 or 2 starts because of injury. But knowing you really want to lean on him, so go ahead and get you some more 2s and 3s.
Yeah. I know that in our last segment, we talked about the report of Brett Favre telling Aaron Rodgers that signing with Minnesota would be a great landing spot, and he should absolutely do it. Adam Schefter, though, does not see Minnesota as a landing spot for Rodgers.
Does Minnesota enter the foray as a potential landing spot for Aaron Rodgers?
Aha.
And I think right now, Aaron Rodgers is focused in on the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New York Giants. That doesn't mean at some point in time the Vikings couldn't come into play, but I think the Vikings they know they have an attractive situation with great coaching, culture, talent on the offense side of the football. But I think that they think that Aaron Rodgers is going to wind up in Pittsburgh, where the New York Giants have another decision to make. And so never rule anything out in the NFL, but I don't see that right now.
I know what you would do, Bump, if you were the Vikings, because you just said it. You wouldn't sign Rodgers. What would you do if you were Aaron Rodgers and you could choose between the two?
Between the Steelers and the Giants?
No, Steelers and Vikings.
Steelers and Vikings. If I could choose, I'm probably going with the Steelers because you're going to get 2 years out of it. Like, you would imagine you're bringing over a veteran quarterback to teach and to be there for a year for J.J. McCarthy. You could win right now, but I don't think that Aaron Rodgers is looking for just a one-year contract. He wants multiple years. He's 41 years of age. If we're going talent and potential, you're going Vikings. But if you're going to a place where you can be there for a couple of years and try to build something a little bit, I would go with the Steelers.
Last year, the Seahawks tried to rebuild part of their linebacker room in free agency. Neither of those guys are still here. One of them was Tyrell Dodson. The Dolphins are re-signing Dodson to a 2-year deal, so good for him finding a new home.
You got to find a place that works for you. Obviously, it didn't here, so they like his speed. He's a bit undersized, but he was better in coverage than your average linebacker. All you need is one coach to like you. That's what I've heard since I was in high school, through college, the NFL. You need one coach to like you, and he found himself there. 2-year deal, got some security out the whole situation. I'm happy for Dodson.
I saw Dodson not as not being like a fine player. He also played more snaps than any other defensive player in Seattle. Was
I think he
the
played
green
every
dot.
snap.
Yeah, like he was your most consistent player in terms of availability on defense, had a lot of responsibilities. I think he was ultimately fit. That's certainly what it sounded like when Mike Macdonald talked about it. Like, it's not that he's not good. He clearly found success with the Dolphins. They like it, but it just didn't work for Macdonald.
He was just a smaller finesse type of linebacker.
Yeah.
That's not what you have in Ernest Jones and Tyrese Knight.
You needed to stop that run. Next up, Joey Bosa will not be joining his brother Nick in San Francisco. Instead, the 30-year-old pass rusher is going to Buffalo on a 1-year, $12.6 million deal. You like what the Bills have done this offseason.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about it in 4-down territory, but this also adds to that whole deal. You find a guy who can get after the quarterback. The thing with him is he's played like 18 games in the last 2.5, 3 seasons or something like that. He cannot stay healthy, but again, the right fit. Maybe they have some guys over there that they feel like can take some pressure off of Bosa, and he doesn't have to be out there every single down. But why not take a swing at a guy who was considered one of the best pass rushers in the game at one point? 1 year, 12.6. I'd do that deal.
Another Buffalo signing. They're bringing back safety DeMar Hamlin on a 1-year deal. He started 14 games for the Bills in 2024 and recorded the first 2 interceptions of his career.
He's not just a story now. He is a NFL player, right? You assume that after he essentially died on the football field and brought him back, that they have to bring him back in a camp, and see what happens and go from there. Maybe he's a special teams guy, and that's what happened. But as he started getting more playing time, he showed that he is a good football player. So I'm happy that he's just not a guy we talked about as far as his medical conditions. He's a guy that has added some value to himself in the NFL. So big ups to DeMar.
Pat McAfee thinks Anthony Richardson, now that the Colts have signed Daniel Jones to compete with him, should ask for a trade.
I think if you're one of the other 31 teams, remember what you thought about Anthony Richardson. A lot of upside. Guy's got a ton of potential. It's going to cost you. Okay? You're not just got for number 4 overall pick for just a 6th or 7th rounder. No, you're obviously going to put value on this man because that is the ability. But, maybe he does ask for a trade. And maybe a fresh new start somewhere else is what Anthony Richardson needs. And you know what? If that's the case, if he does look to go somewhere else, we will appreciate the hell out of his time in this city. And we will be thankful that we were able to be like grade school for him to learn how to play football and be a football player and be a professional and everything like that. And I think he would have massive success somewhere else.
I can't tell if McAfee's being facetious or not.
No, what he's doing is he wants him to get out of there because he realizes that, look, he's probably not the guy, but he played for my organization, so I got to spin this to make it sound great.
Like,
we are so grateful for you. No, you're not. You want him to get out of there. And if I am Anthony Richardson, I'm not requesting a trade because now you look like a guy who can't fight through anything to all these other organizations, and you're just going to be a backup. If there's nowhere for Aaron to go, he's fighting. Well, there's a couple places. If there's nowhere for Russell to go, where's Anthony Richardson going to go? You show me one franchise right now that's in desperate need of a quarterback who has proved absolutely nothing in this league.
That wants a sub-50 completion percentage.
Yeah, he wasn't good. You stay there, you battle it out, and you show the coach you're a better option than Daniel Jones.
Was this or is this move a knock on the idea of drafting only for athletic upside. Does Anthony Richardson need more time, or is it just a bad fit between organization and team? Anthony Richardson was someone people were talking a ton about in the draft. Everyone was...
They weren't talking about his game, though. Not once did they say, he's a great passer.
No, it was always
his
a very
incomplete
product.
Yeah,
very incomplete product.
The Colts drafted him knowing, or they should have known, he was not going to be ready within the first 2 years. This is a 3 to 4 year type of project. What you did was you wasted Jonathan Taylor's prime years, and now you're scrambling. And now you're asking Daniel Jones to come in and put some pressure on him. Maybe Anthony Richardson figures it out, but to ask for a trade is not the right mentality. You go and you fight for your job.
DeAndre Hopkins is still chasing that ring. He's signing with the Ravens on a 1-year, $5 million deal.
I love this. Keep chasing. He needs to play for the Chiefs, obviously. He needs to play for the Ravens, and then go ahead and play for the Bills, too. Go ahead and play for the Cincinnati Bengals. You chase your ring. Whatever team you think can put you in a position to win one, you go ahead and do it. 1-year deals all day for D-Hop if I'm him.
George Kittle and Brock Purdy are still on the 49ers, and that's about it. Everyone else is gone. John Lynch talking about their offseason reset.
I think since Kyle and I've been here, we've been, certainly a top 5, I believe, number 2 cash spending team. In the last 5 years, I think we're 4 years going into the 4th year. I think we're the 4th highest cash spending team. So we're at some point you have to reset a little bit, or at least recalibrate. You can't just keep pressing the pedal. And I think there's some good that can come out of it. We need to get younger. I think we're the oldest team in football, trying to make a run at the deal last year, and I think it's good to constantly get younger. Our draft class last year was a great move towards that.
I feel like a too long didn't read version of this answer from John Lynch could be, you can't have the same Super Bowl window with the same players and contracts forever.
Nah,
It just doesn't work that way.
While he's talking, I just hear Lion King's Circle of Life behind him.
It's the circle of life.
That is the NFL. You had your chance, and you blew it a few times. And guys are getting old. They're getting expensive. And you believe in your quarterback. If they did not believe that Brock Purdy was their guy, then maybe they get rid of him and they keep a few other guys. But no, Debo's getting old. Fungus coming off an injury. It's just, this is what happens in the league. And I respect him just putting it all out there. Yeah, we spent a lot of money, man. It's time to move.
All right, we're going to talk a bit about Seahawks free agency, additions, departures, big needs, cap room coming up next. After that, speaking of the 49ers, speaking of a reset, the Seahawks are not the only team in limbo. Why Seattle can still find success in 2025 and what we can learn about some of these other teams in the middle. That's all coming your way next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk. Weekdays 6 to 10.
DK Metcalf traded, Geno Smith traded. I will say I love this. I really do. The goal isn't to build a good team. The goal is to build a great team. And that is going to take some risk.
You feel like you're just stuck in the middle. You just don't want to be stuck. We're in the business of doing what's best for the organization. And these moves this weekend were ultimately what was best for the organization.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Are you looking at diversification and stability with your investment portfolio, especially with the volatility right now in the stock market? Hi, I'm Scott Rirecka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We've been running local real estate investment funds for over 18 years. We've had 0 investor losses and have averaged double-digit returns since inception. Maybe it's time to take a little risk off the table given market conditions. For stability, there's no better option than Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, a fixed return of 9%. Legacy's Northwest Fund also accepts IRA accounts as well. Find out why over 1,000 local investors have invested over $250 million in our Legacy family of funds. Get in touch with us today. Legacy's Northwest Fund returning 9% has limited opening for new investors right now.
Call 425-635-4700 or visit LegacyG.com. That's LegacyG.com. This is not investment advice. Legacy investments available to accredited investors only. Details at LegacyG.com.
Things are just better when you switch to Cricket. The sun shines a little brighter. Happy music starts randomly playing. Best of all, you can get iPhone 13 for just $29.99. With the ultra-bright Super Retina display and up to 19 hours of video playback, all on Cricket's super-fast 5G network. See? Isn't that better? Smile, you're on Cricket.
Requires new account and port in on $60 plan. First service charge taxed with sale. $25 activation fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. See store for details.
With Progressive's collision coverage, my family gets up to $1,000 for vet bills if I'm injured in a car accident. And that makes this Chihuahua really feel like part of the family. What's that? I don't sound like a chihuahua? Oh, I'm sorry. What exactly am I supposed to sound like? I guess all chihuahuas are high-strung, riding around in expensive designer purses. Actually, I prefer riding in cars. So I appreciate that my family protects me with Progressive's pet collision coverage. Okay, maybe I am a little high-strung. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Coverage for dogs and cats is included with the purchase of collision coverage and is subject to policy terms.
Meanwhile, at Xfinity. So, influencer life going well?
Oh, yeah. I'm up to 32 followers.
Oh, that's something.
Yeah, posting my tap dancing videos is easier than ever because we engineered Xfinity Internet with 99.99% network reliability.
Plus, Xfinity Mobile with Wi-Fi Power Boost gives you ultra-fast Wi-Fi at home and on the go. But wait, tap dancing? You don't tap dance.
Hey, what I lack in skill, I make up with passion.
Do more of what you love and love how fast you do it with Xfinity Internet and mobile. And now through April 21st, get 300 megabit Xfinity Internet and one unlimited mobile line together for $25 a month for 1 year and save $1,000 in your first year over Verizon and AT&T. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Savings compared to Verizon 5G Internet plus one unlimited welcome line and AT&T Internet 300 plus one unlimited starter SL line. Xfinity Internet required. Actual speeds vary. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual savings vary.
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit, accurate auto body.
If you've been in an auto accident, you have the right to take your vehicle to any repair facility. Accurate Auto Body has been family owned and operated since 1994, and they work for you, not your insurance company. Your insurance company may not love them, but you will, because
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit, accurate auto body.
4 down territory, going inside the game with Michael Bumpus.
I like this. More quarterbacks should start doing this.
Every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bump and Stacy.
Do you need a new roof? Don't wait for summer to replace it. 3 Tree Roofing is here to help you save big this winter. Avoid summer's higher prices and longer wait times and protect your home's integrity now. Visit 3treeroofing.com for your free on-site estimate. Our certified installers make it easy and worry-free, no matter the season. Don't wait. Book your estimate today at 3treeroofing.com. Mention this ad and get $500 off your roof replacement. 3 Tree Roofing, your Puget Sound roofing experts.
Luxury awaits at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel, where comfort meets elegance. It's Mike Salk here, and this summer you can experience breathtaking Cascade views, world-class dining, and of course the best entertainment. Elevate your next getaway by combining effortless style with the utmost in relaxation. The hotel opens this summer with deluxe king and 2 queen rooms, premiums, grand suites, signature suites, and the breathtaking views of the Cascades and the Snoqualmie Valley. For more details, go to snocasino.com. Seattle's closest is now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
Kent Bowl reminds parents to enroll your kids in a positive youth program. Sports like bowling, hobbies, and community activities improve overall health and performance in school. These programs decrease drug use and violence and develop self-discipline and leadership skills. Let's team together this year to help our kids reach their full potential. Best wishes to all our kids from the entire team at Kent Bowl, a safe and friendly family-oriented setting since 1958. Find out about our bowling leagues online at kentbowl.net.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hard-working partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
A wild stat about MVS, plus a little more info on Seattle's approach to free agency so far. A little bit of information from Bob Condotta I thought was interesting. First, Bump, you got a stat about Marquez Valdez-Scantling that I thought was really interesting. What was it?
Yeah, my homie, Antoine. WIN is his name, but I call him New Guy because that's the way it looks like he spells his name, New Guy, and I call him that, but it's WIN.
Okay.
He used to jack it up at the golf course all the time. We have the New Guy into some. This is WIN. Okay.
It's just WIN.
All right. He sent me this tweet, thanks, Twan, and it says, every quarterback to win an MVP award in the last 5 seasons played with Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
That's wild.
That is crazy. Now, it doesn't mean that he's the catalyst.
No, it's
doesn't
just
mean
fun.
that he is the reason. But does that add some value for just a little bit to y'all? Just a little bit?
It adds like some fun sprinkles on top of the signing that's otherwise kind of like, oh, okay. Like I saw the signing, I was like, okay. And I wasn't disappointed by it. It's not a super expensive contract. It doesn't really move the needle for me, but you don't have a lot of depth at the position. I'm sorry. I don't feel comfortable heading in to an offseason with two younger, inexperienced guys and one guy that's had 1,000 yards for the first time in his career and is still on a rookie deal. You have a young group and a very thin group. What's wrong with adding a random veteran? I know that people would love a more exciting signing, but I've long given up hope that the Seahawks will make splashy moves.
You need support, and that's what he does. I'll say it again, 6'4", 206 pounds. He's a fast receiver, averaged 20 yards per reception 1 year, 17.4 on the season. He's got 20 touchdowns. He's going to sprinkle you with some plays. He's like the Salt Bae, just to sprinkle some plays in at the end of the game or during the game, and you'll be fine. Give me 4 to 600, 3 touchdowns.
Let's go to do we want to stay on Marquez for a little bit? I'm ready to move on.
Let's move on.
Okay. This from Bob Condota. Our Open, which talked about mostly misses in free agency for the Seahawks, but also added some context to what we think their approach has been and will always be, was spawned in part from a lot of disappointment I was seeing over this team not signing Will Fries. And I was one of those disappointed people. I was like, $18 million per? I'm sorry, you just cleared. You have like $40 million left in cap space after Darnold. What are you doing? I thought this was interesting, though, from Seattle Times reporter Bob Condota. My understanding of the Seahawks and Will Fries is that Seattle wanted to get him to come in and take a physical given his injury and how big the money is. That couldn't happen until Wednesday, today, and Fries didn't want to wait. That was the primary issue, not years or dollars.
I understand why he would want to get a deal done ASAP because who knows what that physical is going to look like. That's great on his side, great on his agent's side to work this deal out. But I think it's extremely responsible by the Seahawks, too, to tell themselves, look, man, we got to wait and see. We got to get our doctors to vouch for your health. And that's just good business, man. They did the same thing with Connor Williams. Connor Williams came off a knee injury, and they're like, look, we got to wait. We need to see you. We need to have you see our doctors because we want you for the long run. 7 weeks into the season, he retires. But you know what? That didn't matter, okay? With this situation here, you don't commit large amounts of money to a product that you're not sure is going to go out there and give you what you need out the situation. I would have loved it, even if they didn't do the physical and just sign him. I would have been hyped. But then I would have heard this story get leaked and would have been a big concern. Like, how long is he going to last? And I hope he has a great year and he's healthy and everything works out. But that's just smart. I know we want to throw money at things, but that is a smart move by the Seahawks.
I think the idea of throwing money at things was certainly increased, at least for me. Naturally, it was my first instinct. I'll be transparent. When I saw that, hey, they're going to trade Geno, they're trading DK, they've released Tyler Lockett. Holy cow. I mean, prior to signing Sam Darnold, I was like, you have $68 million additional dollars in cap space. Like, you have like something like the 4th or 5th most cap space in the league. You don't typically enter an offseason with that kind of spending when you're mostly a successful team or mostly winning or whatever. They've been tied up with contracts, and it's kind of limited them. It's led to not a lot of great free agent signings, sometimes bad free agent classes. And that's also the fault of maybe not the best. I don't even know what's going on behind the scenes, but it's not just cap stuff. However,
no, it's eval.
Yes,
it's eval. Them.
That's what I was.
Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to look at film and insert a player into your offense, defense, saying, I think this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And you get your evaluations wrong. And they've gotten them wrong with the offensive line a lot as of late. They got it wrong last year with the linebackers. And this happens across the league, but obviously we're Seattle sports, so we're going to focus on it. And I think how you open the show was telling because you went through about, I'm going to say 30 free agent signings, and we only saw about 3 to 5 of those guys come back for an additional year. So clearly there's something off when it comes to eval, but that's also a common theme in the NFL, I believe, and that's without looking at the numbers or whatnot, because players do not play very long in the NFL. Yeah. And who are we talking about? Eric Williams, I think we just spoke to, and he's talking about, look, when you sign a player off of free agency, that means the other team was like, look, we're good on him. You go ahead and hit the market and see what's going on. So they didn't see value in him, and now you have to find value and then place him into your system and hope that it works out. It just hasn't worked out a lot for the Hawks.
I think both things are true, where I can understand and probably would have taken the same approach Seattle did with Will Fries, going, God, we do want this guy. We know we need this guy, but I'm nervous to pull the trigger without this physical because we've been burned with bad signings before. And I can also understand completely the feeling from fans of, for the love of God, please fix this offensive line.
I beg you.
Last minute here before we head into a separate conversation. Is there a lingering question, maybe a name out there, maybe a move you'd want to see them make, maybe a question you have about their approach to free agency still?
It's Becton, man. That is on my wish list for the Hawks to do something that they do not typically do, which is go out there and spend some money on an interior offensive lineman, a guy who is proven out there. Could you imagine Becton with Abe, with Cross, Olu, and then find yourself either develop your other guards in Laumea or Haynes or whatnot, or find them in the draft? That is the missing piece. Like, you can have a receiving core that has their one guy and then a couple sprinkles in if you have that offensive line that is ready to go, because we know it's in the backfield. So that would be my wish list, man. Go out there and just spend some money. You got about 50-something million left in cap space.
I'm stuck on asking Eric Williams, does Cooper Kupp have anything left, and could he sign with the Seahawks, and him saying yes and yes. So that's my lingering question is, like, it feels like the longest of long shots, but could Cooper Kupp sign with the Seahawks?
We got space.
Yeah, it's just that's in terms of what I'm interested to see happen. That's
need a place to live, Coop. I got you.
You can move in. All right. The Seahawks aren't the only team in limbo. Why Seattle can still find success in 2025, and how do teams get stuck? That's next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob. Weekdays 2 to 7.
Your two most prominent players on offense said, I want out of here.
If you ask the texters, they would say both of them have attitude problems.
You know, we'll see what Geno signs for. If he signs for somewhere in around 40 to 45, what does that say about how he felt about Seattle?
You got to put a lot of faith in John Schneider and Mike McDonald. John said, we're not going to do anything that hurts the team. The team is number one, the player is number two.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
You think your home is pretty cool until that summer heat hits, and suddenly your home isn't that cool. In fact, it's hot. Air conditioning from Washington Energy Services can help. Stay cool this summer with our biggest spring savings event ever. This month only, take up to $4,000 off an energy-efficient Bryant cooling system with exclusive Washington Energy rebates. Ensure your home is always the cool house with air conditioning from Washington Energy Services. Contact us today for a free estimate.
Hi, Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. With thousands of full replacements with expert craftsmanship and unbeatable warranties, we've been building roofs you can trust for over 5 decades. It's more than just a job, it's our promise to you. Protect your investment with a free Golden Pledge warranty on all GAF roof replacements over $15,000. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to schedule a free estimate. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
Well, the longer days, the sunny breaks in the weather, they've got me dreaming of summer, right? Getting out in the golf course, heading on vacation, or just enjoying our beautiful Northwest region. Make this summer one to remember by looking and feeling your absolute best. You can do it. And if you start right now, you can accomplish that goal before Memorial Day weekend. It's Mike Salk here, and 45 days is all it takes. You can lose almost a pound each day. I lost 35 total with Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. And I'll let you in a little secret. Those 45 days, they're not even that hard. No crazy dieting, no cardio or crazy exercise. Definitely no pills or injections with any kind of potentially scary side effects. None of that. You're eating healthy, delicious meals that you make for yourself and buy at the grocery store, and you watch the pounds absolutely fall off. Find out if you can do it. I know you can. A 15-minute call is all it takes. No obligation. Schedule it right now at eastsideweightlossklinik.com. You got nothing to lose other than like a ton of weight. Go to eastsideweightlossklinik.com. Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with a Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
O'Reilly.
Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free and provides a report with solutions based on over 650 million vehicle scans verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we can recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
With Progressive, renters can save on protection for the things that make your place yours, even things that don't make sense to everyone.
People always wonder why I don't get rid of my guitar since I never play. But it's like, what if I actually end up taking lessons? Sure, I've had it for 8 years, but if I get rid of it, then what will my New Year's resolution be next January?
Exactly. So bundle your renters and auto and save with Progressive and protect the things that make sense to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers not available in all states or situations. Covered subject to policy terms and conditions.
Can you take the power of your home internet almost anywhere? Well, with Xfinity, you can. Do more of what you love in the places you go the most with internet and mobile together. Xfinity built a network that's 99.99% reliable. Plus, Xfinity Mobile has Wi-Fi Power Boost, giving you ultra-fast Wi-Fi at home and on the go. Get the same reliable network in the places you need the most. The coffee shop, the grocery store, or the game. All to power more of what you love, whether you're a gamer, streaming, or work from home. Whatever you're into, you'll love how fast you can do it with Xfinity Internet and Mobile. And now through April 21st, get 300 megabit Xfinity Internet and one unlimited mobile line together for $25 a month for 1 year with no annual contract. And save $1,000 in your first year over Verizon and AT&T. Plus, ask how to get a free premium 5G phone. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with store bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra after promo. Regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary. Savings compared to Verizon 5G, Internet plus one unlimited welcome line, and AT&T Internet 300 plus one unlimited starter SL line. Xfinity Internet required. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual savings vary.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Quarterback Trey Brown is joining a division rival. The former Seahawk is signing a one-year deal with the 49ers. Meanwhile, another former Seahawk is on the move. Stone Forsythe is signing a one-year deal with the Giants. And finally, Joey Bosa will not be joining his brother Nick in San Francisco. Instead, the 30-year-old pass rusher is going to Buffalo on a one-year, $12.6 million deal.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. The Seahawks are a team in limbo. A few other teams are too. So what can we learn about where other teams are, what moves they're making? And I think the bigger question that's interesting me that we'll get to as part of this conversation is, how do teams get stuck? Because I agree the Seahawks have been kind of stuck. And there's degrees to limbo. They're stuck at 5 wins. And then they're stuck at 9 wins, and both suck, but in different ways.
Both stuck.
Yeah, both suck, and you're stuck. So we'll talk about how the Seahawks got stuck and how they can unstick. But let's start with you looking around the league to kind of check where some other teams are.
Yeah, because there are different positions in this league. There are teams that are almost guaranteed to be in the fight when it comes to a conference championship at least. And every year, I think most experts, even just the average fan, kind of gets that right, because those are easy to identify, right? It's the Ravens, the Bills, the Chiefs. Halfway through the season, it was the Vikings. Going into the season, it was the Lions, even the Green Bay Packers at some point, because you're looking at the success that they had the year before and what they have coming back. And then there's the teams in the middle, and that's who the Seahawks have been over the past X amount of years.
10.
And the reason why you feel that way is because maybe they're not good enough at this position. They need help at this position. You've changed offensive coordinators. You've changed defensive coordinators. There's a lot of change going on. and not enough stability with the star players or the foundational players. And that's why I feel like the Seahawks have been there. Is it because you don't think your quarterback is good enough? Is it because the offensive line can't get going? It's the run game. It's the defense. The Hawks have always had an underlying issue that you point to and you say to yourself, that's the reason why they're not going to be good or not good enough to get over the hump. That's what we've seen. That's what we're hoping changes this year. And I think you and I, we've been together 3 years now, and every year I think when we do our predictions, we're like, 8 wins maybe, 9 wins.
Yeah, it's never changed.
Yeah, because we haven't seen enough change to put them on that next level. And then there are the guys at the bottom of the league who, no matter who they sign, Myles Garrett for 8 years, $100 billion, they're not going to be good because they don't have enough pieces around them. But there are other teams in the same situation, and I think that that's a more common situation to be in, are the teams that are fighting to get into the playoffs, and once they get in, you're not really sure what they're going to do. I look at the Steelers. Are you good enough to win a playoff game? 6 consecutive playoff losses for Mike Tomlin over there. It's been crazy. Atlanta, you are talented on offense, but your defense needs work. Chargers, you need more offensive firepower. You got one of the best quarterbacks talent-wise in the game. Niners, they are selling their whole team at this point, so they're in that mix now. The Cardinals, there's talent over there, but there's no leadership. And now the Bears were there, and now we're looking at them saying, did you do enough to protect your quarterback? Can you take the next step? And then the Raiders, have you found your quarterback? I think is still a bridge-type situation. The Hawks are there too, because you're asking yourself, is Sam Darnold going to be good enough? Are you going to be able to protect him with your offensive line? Is the run game going to get going? Is Kubiak going to call a game that Mike McDonald thinks is conducive to winning championships? But we're looking at the defense, and we think they might be good enough to keep these guys afloat. It's just a weird place to be in, but I think a lot of teams are typically there. Like I mentioned, there's only so many teams at the top at the beginning of the year that you think can compete to at least get into a conference championship game.
I agree on the read on all of these teams, and I'm sure much like the Seahawks, the reason has kind of changed over time. If I'm looking at the Seahawks, the Seahawks are one of these teams that are kind of in limbo. And again, limbo looks different for different teams. The Seahawks have made it to the playoff, like the Steelers, right? I'd say like the Steelers of the NFC. They've made it to the playoffs. They have not found the same playoff success that they used to have.
Right.
And so making it to the playoffs doesn't feel good enough. Or having 10 wins and not making it doesn't feel good enough. Having 9 wins doesn't feel good enough because you know what that's like. And it doesn't feel like a step forward. It feels like a step to the side, just kind of the same.
You're a step.
So let's talk about some of the reasons they've been stuck. And I agree with your point. It's been different. It's not been the same reason every single time. I think that if you look at this team following Super Bowl 49, 2015, statistically, they were still one of the top defenses and one of the top offenses. It just came together a little bit late. And I think that there were some, not cultural issues, but it was a fractured locker room following that Super Bowl win. It really was. And it wasn't like massive amounts of fighting, at least from what I ever heard. It was just a theory that I know some other reporters I know had where there was just,
they
it
were
was
angry.
a weird vibe. It
They
was a
were
weird
angry.
vibe. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
You also, that was the beginning of a decline for your offensive line without Unger, and you
Haven't recovered yet.
never had a good offensive line after that. So the offensive line has been one consistent and maybe the only one. What's another issue that you've seen kind of permeate? And there's been different ones, but what's one trend that you saw with this team?
It's weird saying this, but it's quarterback play, because when Russ was at his best, numbers-wise, the quote was let Russ cook. And Pete Carroll was looking at the amount of attempts that Russell was getting in this offense and thought to himself, that's not how we're going to win. And with that mindset, there became some friction between the two, between Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll. It's probably gone now, but back then, there was some friction. And with that friction, there's some friction with the offensive coordinator. So what do? What do you have, 3 different coordinators in 3 different years? You bring guys in, and you're trying to win football games or compete in football games the way that Pete Carroll wants to do it. I think that, and then you throw Geno into the mix, and people never think that he's good enough because you could think he's not good enough talent-wise. Me personally, I think that he just didn't have the support that was needed for him to realistically be able to make a push into the playoffs and win some games. So it kind of shifted over to the focal point. The biggest focal point on most teams is the quarterback, either the way that he's playing, the potential that he had or the relationship that he had with his quarterback and his offensive coordinator.
Yeah. I agree. And I will say that I agree while adding that in 2018, 19, 2020, though we know that that was heavily concentrated to the first half, and in 2022, this was a top 10 scoring offense. For the bulk of the season. This is for the average for the season. They were a top 10 scoring offense. They never felt like a dominant offense, though. Like, I don't have memories in 2019. The first part of 2020 is the only exception. But otherwise, I don't have memories of ever thinking this offense could compete with the best offenses in football. Like, look at 2016, okay? The Seahawks were like a middling, very average offense. Were you ever going to compete with the Atlanta Falcons that year? No. You were never going to compete with that offense. That offense was so good, and they didn't even win a Super Bowl. They blew it. But when you started getting the offense really excelling, oh, what's this? Your once historic defense is now 26th in scoring, 22nd in scoring, 28 in yards allowed, 26 in yards allowed. Part of the stuckness, the limbo of this team was also that Pete Carroll never got that defense right again.
Yeah, and maybe it was
draft misses.
Personnel for the scheme.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Yes.
You're not acquiring the right free agents. You're not drafting the right guys, but you're expecting the same type of performance, and your coaching staff probably doesn't have enough confidence or with moxie about them to come to you and tell you, look, this isn't working anymore. We need to try something different. And I think that could be one of the downfalls of these sustained, just above average type of teams is you think that you're really closer than you really are. You think that you're close because you're winning 9, 10, 11 games, you're getting to the playoffs, or you're just missing it 1 year, and people might become complacent. And that's why I look at what Mike McDonald is doing, and I don't feel complacency at all because he's made some changes. Now it's got to work.
Yeah.
If it don't work, you can make all the moves in the world and we can feel great about it. But if it does not work, then you're going to be critiqued by the public, by the media, and there's going to be doubt, and people are going to ask themselves, is this the philosophy that's going to work to get over the hump? Because you haven't been able to get over the hump in over a decade. It's about time.
Yep.
So this has to work. I'm looking at this situation. It has to work, but I think it has to work in like 2 years. I'm not looking at if you don't go to the conference championship next year, it's all bad. No, but if people don't see progress and the moves that you've made don't pan out, like if Marquez goes for 200 yards and it's hardly on the football field, we're going to look back at this moment and say, was that really worth the $5 million?
Well, and that seat's going to get hotter for John Schneider because, look, I don't know how hot the seat actually gets for Mike McDonald unless he loses the locker room and has players openly disrespecting them. Like, that's how a seat gets hot very, very quickly for a head coach. We didn't see that. In fact, the NFLPA released its poll, and he was like one of 5 coaches that had A ratings from players. So I think it sounds like he's going over well so far with these players. But John Schneider, while he has, on the one hand, constructed a Super Bowl winning team and a team that went to another Super Bowl, also had lots of misses during this same time frame we're talking about. During this same time frame where we mentioned quarterback play as a factor, where we mentioned defensive decline and sometimes coaching as a factor. You also have front office moves. We opened the show by talking about free agent misses. We went through classes from 2017 to 2024 and found 5 players that were multi-year starters or like actual contributors. We found some backups, like Mike Davis was not a regular starter, but was a contributor here for a couple years. A couple guys like that in here. But otherwise, like, you've got 2 guys that ended up being useful starters for your offensive line. It didn't work with Luke Jokel. It didn't work with a bunch of other guys that you added. It didn't work with Chance Warmack. It didn't work in your receiving room with Philip Dorsett. It didn't work with B.J. Finney as your first outside addition of that free agency class. You ended up trading him to get Carlos Dunlap, which did work, but that it didn't help your offensive line.
Right.
So again, you've got free agent misses. You've had draft misses. We've talked about those endlessly, and we will as we get closer to the draft. I think the last, not free agent class, but the last couple draft classes have been promising. I have seen some improvement there. And if we turn this conversation to, okay, well, how do you get unstuck? I go right back to your point about personnel. Find the right guys. You can't get unstuck without talent.
It's all about personnel.
Yeah, you're not about to get unstuck by getting players that aren't good.
Yeah.
You need talent to get unstuck.
Well, I think, let's look at the last draft class. Byron Murphy's going to play. Christian Haynes, we're waiting to see if he develops. Tyrese Knight is a starter. A.J. Brown is going to play. Nehemiah Pritchett is a 2. LaMay I saw sometimes. DJ James didn't make the roster. And then Michael Jarrell saw some time out of necessity. And the one before that, Devin Witherspoon, you found a Pro Bowler. Jackson Smith and Jigme found a Pro Bowler. Derek Hall is improving. Zach Charbonnet is on point. Anthony Bradford, we shall see. Cam Young can't stay healthy. Mike Morris can't stay healthy. With Timmy, got a starting job. Jarek Reed is banged up. And Kenny McIntosh just couldn't see the field, and we saw it this past one.
Yeah.
And the third one after that is good. You've done decent in the last 3 drives. Three drives. But now
You're still in your head with golf.
Yeah, right. What'd you say yesterday?
Oh, Curtis, do you remember what the thing was yesterday? Ripping a tee off the sledgeway?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Ripped the tee off the sledgeway.
All right, so you've ripped the tee off the sledgeway for like 2 drafts, I want to say.
Yeah.
But it's building. That's what teams do who are in the spot that you are in, is that you do some good things, but every year you're adding, and the snowball gets bigger, and it gets bigger. For years now, felt like that's just the same size snowball rolling down the hill. Like it's not picking up any more snow. It's not picking up any more tracks, and the speed is the same. What can you do to make that thing grow? John Schneider and Jody Allen said, all right, we're going to get rid of Pete Carroll now and bring in a young man and see if Mike McDonald is going to be able to do it. So the pressure is on because Mike McDonald is new to this team and new to this area, but the feelings that people have aren't new. The feeling of mediocrity and not being able to get into the playoffs and make noise isn't new. So now how do you balance that if you're John Schneider? How do you balance it with let me give my guy a few years to get this right, with the expectation of people in this area and people who cover the team that are saying, all right, well, it's been a while of just trying to get right. You have to hit on some of these moves.
I think it's unlikely that you get what all of us want, which is another Super Bowl win, without answering the question at quarterback. I don't know that Darnold is the answer. However, I do think that you said, I'm okay like building over 2 years as long as you're taking steps forward. That's how I see the team too.
Yeah.
Use these draft picks wisely. Use your cap space wisely. Find pieces you can count on instead of pieces that once again go to another team the next year.
Right.
Or end up, getting traded midseason because they don't do anything for you. Find pieces that matter.
Or
more
swing
often.
big and get something that's been proven. Mekhi Becton, I'm begging you, go grab that young man. You would take, if you would have grabbed Mekhi Becton and it didn't work out, all right, people would obviously be like, well, that was a misevaluation. But everyone has evaluated this young man as the same. As he's probably the next best guard out there. Go ahead and get him. Everyone saw Will Fries as the next best guard out there. Go ahead and get him. Every now and then, you want to swing for the fences. And they did that with Jamal, and they might be scarred by that Jamal
But
move.
that's why I can't hate on the Jamal. Everyone wants to hate on the Jamal trade so much and on the Jimmy Graham trade. I have to accept a level of failure if I say that as a fan, I prefer a GM to make some aggressive moves once in a while. I can't stand on a mountaintop and say, Mariners, spend money, get a big free agent, make a massive trade, and then critique another GM for failing sometimes when doing that.
Right.
I just have to go, you know what? You learned a lesson. Don't give up 2 first-round picks for a safety whose team is kind of eager to get rid of them. Lesson learned there, pretty important. But that's all you can say. At the end of the day, you thought you were in a window, and you made a move that you thought would win you everything.
So what we're doing is we're asking them to make moves that they're not accustomed to making.
Yes.
And that is swinging big in free agency, finding a way to eval your offensive linemen better, and supporting a quarterback who people think right now isn't as good as Geno. Because Geno has put together 3 solid years and Sam Darnold has put together 1. So don't put him behind that same offensive line or something similar to it and not give him weapons on the outside. Something Geno did have on the outside. That's why he was able to have his success. So you got to have some balance there.
We have 4 football questions for you. Are you ready?
All righty.
Let's get to 4 down territory.
This is 4 down territory, going inside the game. What former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
First down, what makes you think the Hawks will definitely address the defensive back room in the draft?
Going into last year's draft, or training camp at least, we felt like the DB room was one of the deepest on this team, and now it looks like one of the thinnest when it comes to just potential, right? You do have veterans like Artie Burns that is still there, but he's been up and down. You don't know what you're going to get out of him. Trey Brown has now moved to the Niners. He was a guy that you were maybe counting on this season. You got Reek Williams and you have Devin Witherspoon. You got to have some backup. Nehemiah Pritchard is there. DJ James did not make the squad last year. I mentioned that. But now this became a position of importance because not only are these guys going to back each other up, it's rare that everyone plays every single snap, every single game. It's football, injuries happen, but they also contribute vastly on special teams. And that's something that is overlooked as well. At one point, the Hawks had one of the worst kickoff cover teams in the game. Had a kickoff return to the house on them, I believe, against the New York Jets last year, which is rare these days. There's only about 4 to 6 of those things taken to the house. So it's not only about finding guys who are going to contribute when the offense or the defense is out there. There's finding guys who are going to fly down and make some tackles too. It's a part of the game that I think people sleep on because it's not a sexy part of the game. But you need tacklers out there. You need DBs to help out because guys get banged up. And looking at the moves that have been made and the guys who aren't here and who are here, you need the support. So go ahead and draft you a corner or two.
Second down. Why are big contracts in the NFL just unnecessary? Players' pockets don't agree with you, but
yeah, I'm sure they don't. But why are we signing? I don't want to ever see anyone sign for 10 years. Never again. I don't want to see anyone sign for 8 years. Never again. Because at the end of the day, those guys are typically quarterbacks. And quarterbacks are going to hit you for the most money when it comes to cap hit. And eventually what you're going to do 2 years into the contract is say, hey, man, we got to restructure because we got to get you an offensive lineman. Hey, man, we got to restructure because we got to get you a receiver. Like, restructures happen, but the fact that we're seeing Pat Mahomes go for his 4th restructure, Dak Prescott going for his 2nd or 3rd, and he'll have to keep restructuring every year. Next year, his cap is like $70 million. You have to restructure that. You got Josh Allen, who just got this big contract. He's going to have to restructure. Just guarantee these guys money in a short amount of time, 2 to 3 years, and call it good and say, hey, we're going to revisit this. I understand why it is attractive. One, it's ego, and 2, that player is guaranteed a bunch of money over a long period of time, but it hurts your team in the short term. So it's going to happen. I'm not going to change any minds with this. But long contracts, 10-year contracts, stop doing it. It's ego. You're going to have to restructure. The money's going to be moved. Just keep them smaller contracts. Guarantee everything, though. Give them Kirk Cousins deals.
Kirk Cousins, man.
Kirk.
I know that we all do this thing where it's like, I feel bad for Kirk. And in a way I do because he seems like a nice guy. But that man made out.
Money.
Third down. Who are some winners and losers of NFL free agency?
Winners. I like the Bills, man. I'm going to throw Joey Bosa into that mix. They also got Palmer, receiver from the Chargers. That helps. The Bills don't need 3 1,000-yard receivers or even one, I think. I think with the guys they have over there with Secure, with Coleman, and now with Palmer, you can have 3 guys, 700, 800, 900 yards and be fine because we know that Josh Allen's going to distribute the football and run the ball on his own. The Bears, enough said. O-line help for days. I'm so interested to see what the Bears look like in one of the toughest divisions in football. And then you have the Rams. The Rams released Cooper Kupp. 1,900 yards. I don't think Devontae's ever got 1,900 yards. But you got better and older at the same time because Devontae doesn't have the injury history that Cooper Kupp has. His game isn't based on speed. It's about release and technique. He looks good there. And then you added some D-line depth with Poona Ford. I'm so happy for Poona, man. An undrafted free agent was the big 10 or 12 at the time. Defensive player of the year, did not get drafted, and now he's made himself a great career. That defensive line over there is top 4 in the league. And then you re-sign Matthew Stafford, right? The Rams have gotten better. They'll be considered contenders when the season starts. Losers, Niners, everybody gone. Debo, Bates, Mfunga, Floyd, Greenlaw, Usheg, Jalen Moore. I don't know what's going on over there. Actually, we do. We heard from Lynch. He said, look, we spent a lot of money over the last few years. Things have to change, and we know they have to pay their quarterback. He's going to ask for about $50 million, and he's probably going to get it. Another loser, the Texans. Your main objective was to protect your quarterback this offseason. Now, it's still early. Maybe they make some move, but Tunsil was gone. And then you bring over Laken Tomlinson. No knock on the man, but he wasn't what we thought we were getting over here with the Seattle Seahawks. He was a Pro Bowler with the Niners, I believe, 1 year, and then had some good years with the Jets. So, yeah, man, those are a few winners, a few losers. But I'm sure day by day, this list is going to change.
Fourth down. Begin the 11 a.m. hour, we were joined by Fox Sports NFC West reporter Eric Williams. Does anything from that conversation kind of stick with you?
Yeah, because I've been excited about the Commanders and what they've done. And then he brought me back to reality a little bit. I still think they're going to be fine.
Oh, there
but
goes
he says,
gravity.
oh, There goes rabbit ear jokes. They're not protecting their quarterback, at least not yet. They haven't done enough to protect their quarterback. And when I look at the moves that they made and haven't made, I have to nod my head at Eric and say, was he Fox Sports? Mm-hmm. Good job. Fox Sports, you got a real one. All right, and then the next one was you need early production from a young wide receiver here in Seattle. Early production. So we assume that they're going to grab a wide out during the draft. I like the Marquez signing. I think he's good for $400 to $600. That's a good number 2, number 3 type of receiver. You have JSN, who you expect to go over 1,000. He's your number 1. But then you need that wild card, that receiver that has done 10 years of 7-on-7. He played in a spread offense during his time in college, and he's ready to go. He's going to learn. He's going to lean on the 1 and the 2 to kind of ease him into this game. But he's a guy, or you need a guy that can eventually be the number 2, maybe halfway through the season. And Marquez is now the number 3. But you need that type of production out of a young receiver. Maybe they go get Cooper Kupp, and maybe they go and get another receiver. And now you're looking at that core. You have a young superstar, a Triple Crown winner, a deep threat in Marquez, and a young guy who you're just waiting to see how he blossoms.
All right, get your questions in for What I Need to Know, 866-979-3776. Let's see what's on tonight.
What's on tonight with Bump and Stacy, brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook at Muckleshoot. Now, here's what's on tonight.
The Kraken take on the Canadiens tonight at Climate Pledge. Puck drop at 7:30 p.m. on King 5 and Amazon Prime. Coming up next, speaking of Cooper Kupp, one of the most popular questions I've been seeing on the Mac and Jack's text line is, would he be a fit in Seattle? Could he come to Seattle? We'll spend a little bit of time talking about that potential fit just because I know people are interested in it. We'll talk about a couple other names still out there, what we'd want to see the Seahawks do, some of the latest news from around the league before we get to What I Need to Know. All that coming your way next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob. Weekdays 2 to 7.
Your 2 most prominent players on offense said, I want out of here.
If you ask the texters, they would say both of them have attitude problems.
We'll see what Geno signs for. If he signs for somewhere in around 40 to 45, what does that say about how he felt about Seattle?
You got to put a lot of faith in John Schneider and Mike McDonald. John said, we're not going to do anything that hurts the team. The team is number 1, the player is number 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Music that moves your soul. Live at Muckleshoot Event Center, Thursday, April 24th. Get tickets before they sell out at muckleshootcasino.com.
Free consultations, no fee guarantees, 5-star reviews. J.P. Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains the importance of going beyond these familiar offerings.
Accident victims want an attorney, Tom, that satisfies their needs. Someone who handles those needs with the highest degree of care. Pendergast Law offers the no-fee guarantees and free consultations, but these only scratch the surface.
Okay, explain more.
We make sure that every member of our team is genuinely passionate about helping others. Customer service and communication are our top priority. It's how we take care of our clients so they always feel one step ahead of the insurance companies. Our strong reputation for high standards provides comfort and confidence when it's needed most.
Pendergast Law offers the free consultations, the no-fee guarantees, and, of course, they are 5-star rated. But what really makes them different is their genuine passion for helping others. I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
That's PendergastLaw.com.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later. Here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home and make price-boosting upgrades with no cost until close. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
The nonprofit Puget Sound Senior Baseball League plays real baseball on the best fields. Adults ages 18 to 65 and older are invited to try out for the PSSBL this Sunday, March 16th at Hogan Park at Russell Road in Kent. With 10 divisions featuring different age and skill levels, there's room for almost every ball player, from ex-Little Leaguers to high school and even former college and pros. Get all the info at pssbl.com. That's pssbl.com.
When it comes to your roof, you need an expert on your side, and Asset Roofing is on mine. Let them work for you, too. You can find out more at AssetRoofingCo.com. That's AssetRoofingCo.com.
Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
Safety comes first. When money is tight, Buc-ee's has you covered with available financing. For oil changes, wiper blades, brakes, tire rotation, tune-ups, and factory maintenance, it's Buc-ee's Complete Auto. No appointment necessary and financing's available. Check Buc-ee's.com for the location near you.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
Window Nation customers have been singing our praises for years. With fast, local service and an industry-leading 96% customer satisfaction rating, it's no wonder.
I researched window companies for the last year to see what the average prices were and the quality of work. Window Nation nailed both.
Get 2 windows free with every 2 you buy. Pay no interest for 2 full years. Hurry, this offer ends soon. Schedule a free estimate now. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. That's 866-90-NATION.
Swedish Cyberknife has been serving the Pacific Northwest with innovative and compassionate care since 2006. Being able to precisely and accurately deliver radiation makes a difference in terms of controlling cancer and reducing the risk of side effects. The treatment is completed in only 5 sessions, lasting less than an hour. Patient surveys consistently give Swedish Cyberknife the highest of rankings. Swedish.org/Cyberknife Prostate. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish Cyberknife.
Guys, I'll never forget the first time I saw somebody get results at our clinic. He was an 81-year-old man who hadn't been intimate with his wife in over 8 years. Viagra had stopped working for him, and he was desperate for help. After several treatments, he walked into my office and told me he couldn't believe the results. Needless to say, this was a very happy man. This man made me a believer in what we do. He had taken pills for years, but he had never fixed the problem. When he came to us, we fixed the problem. Our treatment does what no pill can do. So give West Coast Men's Health a call today. Speak with our clinic manager. Ask him any question you like, how it works, the science behind it, and even the cost. Change your life today, like the thousands of men who already have.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Coming up in 15 minutes, it's What I Need to Know. Get your questions in to the Mac and Jack's text line 866-979-3776. First, Russell Wilson's been linked to a new team. Plus, could Cooper Kupp be a Seahawk? That's what we're talking about right now. Bump, the latest from Adam Schefter. Russell Wilson has visits scheduled with the Browns in addition to the Giants. Another team on the board for Russell Wilson's services. The Browns, with pick number 2, presumably going to get a quarterback to fill that spot. Still with Deshaun Watson, one of the highest paid quarterbacks in football. So
they got too many over there.
Yeah,
Deshaun,
stop hogging all the quarterbacks.
Kenny Pickett, Bailey Zappi, and now you're probably gonna draft one and possibly bring over Russell Wilson. Now, obviously, you're gonna cut probably Bailey Zappi.
I mean, if I'm the Browns, I'm carrying 5 on my roster into the season.
Might as well. But that's interesting.
Be a receiver group.
You know what? I wasn't thinking about the Cleveland Browns when we made our bet. I was like, there's nowhere for him to go. But what if Deshaun? You're drafting a quarterback.
See, I think you're regretting your bet right now. If anyone needs to know, our bet is that who has better numbers by this year's end, Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers. I took Wilson, you took Rodgers. We have no idea what teams they're playing for. We have no idea if they're going to be starters.
No idea.
And I think you're
getting
scared.
I know Aaron Rodgers is going to be a starter. We don't know if Russell Wilson is going to be a starter.
But will Aaron Rodgers stay healthy? Will Aaron Rodgers be benched?
Well, I mean,
will Aaron Rodgers quit and go do ayahuasca somewhere?
Not getting paid $50 million. Will he be benched? Yeah,
I believe in Russ.
Healthy is something else. I don't know. That's interesting. I think that there's too many quarterbacks over there.
Way too many.
They're going to draft one. They're going to keep Deshaun and have Russell. If that works out, that would be too many quarterbacks.
I think that the best place for both would be the Steelers. I think that the Steelers' preference would probably be Aaron Rodgers. Or maybe Russell Wilson just wouldn't go there. Like, God, who were we talking to the other day? Where he said, James Palmer, he said, but why would Russ want to be like a third pick?
Yeah.
Like if the Steelers were like, hey, Russ, can you come here? He's going to be like, my pride, ouch.
If he wants to play.
But like if you go
where you want it.
If you go to the Giants, let's say that's where he goes. No offensive line. You're throwing to Malik Neighbors and, I don't know, me? Like, are they going to sign me?
Did we sign Slayton or did they get rid of Slayton?
I don't remember.
You're playing for the love of the game. That's what you're doing. For the love of the game.
You're playing for your spirit.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Just for heart, for friendships,
That's it.
for the friendships you make along the way.
For the memories.
But if you go to New York, you're the starter. Unless, I mean, maybe Shador goes to, hang on, what if he goes to the Giants and the Giants get Travis Hunter? Who I know profiles better as a corner, I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But wants to play receiver.
Nah.
The Giants don't have a lot of receivers.
They're not going to, look, he'll play corner 90% of the time and get sprinkled in the
Like
red zone or something like that.
What if the Giants sign Russ, get like Abdul Carter, like it really improve the defense, and then add a good receiver later in the draft on day 2 where there are a lot of good receivers. I'm selling myself on Russell Wilson to the Giants.
Does not improve the defense like that. One player does not improve the defense like that. You need Abdul Carter, a couple of veterans, and someone who's already been there to step up.
Maybe a completely new coaching staff in front office.
Maybe.
That's a weird situation over there, as it is with the Jets as well. A lot of chaos in New York. All right, well, that's the latest on Russell Wilson. Again, from Adam Schefter, Russell Wilson has visits scheduled with not just the Giants, but also with the Browns. Still waiting to see where Aaron Rodgers goes as well. There was a report that Brett Favre told Aaron Rodgers to go to Minnesota, and then Adam Schefter said he doesn't think Aaron Rodgers lands with Minnesota. The assumption is he goes to the Steelers. Can't wait to see the trio of Aaron Rodgers, George Pickens, and DK Metcalf. Very excited for that. Let's get to our next one here. The Rams have officially released Cooper Kupp. That broke a couple minutes ago. Everyone knew that this was going to happen. In fact, there was a report earlier today like, hey, they've told him they're releasing him. So it's not quite news so much as it is just official. It's happened. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Would he be a fit in Seattle is probably the most popular question I'm seeing. Would he?
Yeah, he would. The offense is similar to what McVay is running over there in L.A. He doesn't have the pressure of being the number one. He didn't have that pressure with Puka Nacua, but, this contract situations. They were going to find anybody to pick up his contract. That's the reason why he got released. So now that he got released, you can negotiate, and you can keep him under $20 million a year, maybe under $15 million a year, and try to get him for the low, and he helps you out. And, we talk about bridge quarterbacks. There's such thing as bridge receivers too. And Cooper Kupp will be a bridge receiver. Marquez will be a bridge receiver as well until you find hopefully someone in the draft that you can combine with JSN for the next 3 to 5 years. That's exactly what Cooper Kupp is. He's 31 years of age. He's had multiple surgeries. You don't need much out of him. Like I told you, I need 400 to 600 out of Marquez. I would ask the same out of Cooper Kupp. 4 to 6. You know what? I'll bump him up 5 to 7. And if you can get that out of him in a few touchdowns and play 14 out of 17 games, I think it would be a decent move. And then it also would allow you to develop a young receiver if you were to get one in the draft, which I really think they're going to do, and I would recommend that they do. It's about bridging the gap between JSN and that rookie receiver. And in between JSN and that rookie receiver would be Marquez, and if Cooper Kupp came here, it would be him as well. No, I think he would fit, man. Just catch a whole bunch of first downs, stay as healthy as possible, and be the blocker that you are in the run game because receivers are going to have to block in this Kubiak offense.
Speaking of this Kubiak offense, I know that we're focused on wide receivers because they have some depth questions there, and given the 2 receivers, big names that are now out of Seattle, it just makes sense. There are also a lot of big-name receivers in free agency that are making headlines. It's an obvious area of focus. I had a listener text in earlier and say, why aren't we talking about the run? That's what they clearly want to do. This is interesting to me, but here's why to me. I don't know what that's going to look like. You were 28th in rushing attempts, something like 30th in running back yards before contact, one of the worst in the league overall in terms of run blocking. You were not a good rushing offense. You dealt with injuries with Ken Walker. Zach Charbonnet kind of came into his own, but it was a little later in the season and only upon getting some more opportunities. And your offensive line is still a massive question mark. I think there could be a promising contributor in the backfield that's just not on the roster right now. It's a really good running back class.
Mm-hmm.
But I think none of it matters unless you fix the offensive line. So it's hard for me to find a direction to take talking about the running back room, talking about the run game, because it matters entirely on whether John Schneider fixes his biggest problem.
Yeah, you can get one of those guys late.
Yeah.
The running backs are they're undervalued and valued correctly at the same time, because you're not going to get many years out of them, but you also realize that if you're able to get this guy going, man, he can contribute for 3 to 4 years and really change the way your offense looks. So I think they can address that. It just not early. I don't want it at pick 50. I don't want it at pick 90. I want it over there with your last few picks, because there are so many good running backs in this draft as well. So they can address it in that sense, but you can address the run and the pass at one position, and that's the offensive line.
A perfect point. Like, ultimately, we can talk about, maybe someone's disappointed with MVS. Maybe they're saying, I want a bigger name. I want something splashy. I want someone I know can work. Maybe they want to see them, take a certain running back that they don't end up taking.
Mm-hmm.
None of it's going to matter. Like, you need to improve the offensive line, and we have no idea what Clint Kubiak's offense can look like, whether it can really work here.
Whether it can enhance the guys who are here, too.
Exactly. I mean, maybe you do see more from both Walker and Charbonnet behind a better offensive line with better interior guys, which will bring us to the next several days. Looking at the names that are still available, you've been calling for Becton to be signed. I'm sure we'll look at a couple other names as we move forward. I'm sure we'll hear about a couple other signings, right? I don't think this club is going to only look at the draft to fill out the offensive line. I'm guessing we're going to have another guy signed.
You know why? Because it's cheaper. Well, it's cheaper to look at the offensive line, but it's cheaper also to not sign Becton. So if I'm going off of what I know of them,
right,
no Becton, and then you go to the draft for the line.
What about what you could ask them to do if John Schneider was like, okay, Bump, I promise I'll do exactly what you tell me to do. Just tell me one thing.
Becton.
You'd say Becton.
Go get him.
Okay. What I need to know is coming your way next. Get your questions in to the Mac and Jacks text line, 866-979-3776. Send those now.
When you're running the hurry up and don't have time for your favorite Seattle sports shows, listen to the podcast on demand.
How about that? Unbelievable. Who would have thought?
Every hour, every interview, every look behind the scenes.
He is your new Seahawks head coach, Mike McDonald.
We want to play a certain way, and you're just going to chisel away at it every day.
Find us on SeattleSports.com, the Seattle Sports app, or wherever you get podcasts.
All signs continue to point to it being the right hire.
Never miss a minute of Seattle sports, the home of the Seahawks.
Are you trying to buy a new home, or are you a local real estate agent seeking financing for a client? We're all tired of dealing with banks, credit unions, and endless guidelines. Wouldn't it be nice to go back in time when we had common sense lending? Hi, I'm Scott Rureka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We are one of the largest local private portfolio lenders in Washington. We've helped thousands of home buyers and real estate investors reach their financial goals by leveraging the Legacy Common Sense borrowing platform. What that means is we lend our own money, we make our own decisions. If your deal makes sense, we'll get it done. Whether you're purchasing a new piece of real estate or refinancing an existing loan, bridge loans, construction, or regular home loan, it doesn't have to be as difficult as banks and lenders make it. If you're trying to grow wealth through real estate acquisition, come talk to the experts in private lending.
Call 425-635-4700 or LegacyG.com. Legacy Group Capital, your common sense lender. LegacyG.com.
Can you take the power of your home internet almost anywhere? Well, with Xfinity, you can. Do more of what you love in the places you go the most with internet and mobile together. Xfinity built a network that's 99.99% reliable. Plus, Xfinity Mobile has Wi-Fi Power Boost, giving you ultra-fast Wi-Fi at home and on the go. Get the same reliable network in the places you need the most. The coffee shop, the grocery store, or the game. All to power more of what you love, whether you're a gamer, streaming, or work from home. Whatever you're into, you'll love how fast you can do it with Xfinity Internet and Mobile. And now through April 21st, get 300 megabit Xfinity Internet and one unlimited mobile line together for $25 a month for 1 year with no annual contract. And save $1,000 in your first year over Verizon and AT&T. Plus, ask how to get a free premium 5G phone. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with store bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra after promo. Regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary. Savings compared to Verizon 5G, Internet Plus One Unlimited Welcome Line, and AT&T Internet 300 Plus One Unlimited Starter SL Line. Xfinity Internet required. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual savings vary.
Things are just better when you switch to Cricket. The sun shines a little brighter. Happy music starts randomly playing. Best of all, you can get iPhone 13 for just $29.99. With the ultra-bright Super Retina display and up to 19 hours of video playback, all on Cricket's super-fast 5G network. See? Isn't that better? Smile, you're on Cricket.
Requires new account and port in on $60 plan. First service charge and tax due at sale. $25 activation fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. See store for details.
When you switch to Progressive and bundle your home and auto, you could save hundreds, and that's a surprising amount of money.
Whoa, that's like farmer's market money.
That's like give me a gallon of that locally sourced raw honey money.
That's certified organic heirloom tomatoes in every imaginable color except red money.
That's let's get 2 pounds of pink oyster mushrooms money. I'm not even sure I like pink oyster mushrooms.
Guess it's time to find out, because you could save hundreds when you switch to Progressive and bundle. Then the world is your pink oyster mushroom. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Making fresh produce and food affordable and accessible to all is a mission Safeway is deeply committed to. G. Scott here. Your local Safeway has all the great benefits that SNAP-eligible families love, plus exclusive savings. Right now, save 50% on Fresh Pass memberships, plus get a monthly $5 credit, free unlimited delivery, $10 of free produce, and double rewards. Check out your Safeway For You app for all details and savings, or visit Safeway.com/snap for details.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
Protein, protein, protein. Everyone is trying to get protein in their diet, but we need fats too. Healthy fat, that is, like the rich, natural peanut and almond butters found at G2G protein bars. Most bars don't have it because, well, most bars aren't real food or refrigerated. Fortunately for you, we aren't most bars. At G2G, you'll find a balanced helping of protein and healthy fat. The fact that they're delicious is just the bonus. They're fast, easy, and perfect for on-the-go families. G2G protein bars. Find them in the refrigerated section at Costco.
The future is here, so why is your internet stuck in the past? With Quantum Fiber Internet, you can get next-level multi-gig speed on a reliable fiber network. Fair and honest pricing, with no annual contracts or bundling required. And whole home 360 Wi-Fi to make sure your devices are ready to take you where you want to go. So you can stream, post, game, surf, like, and love to your heart's content. You do you. Let Quantum Fiber Internet take care of the rest. Learn more at quantumfiber.com. Limited availability, service, and speed in select locations only.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is for you too. Stubborn fat is really hard to get rid of, and then there's all those gimmicky lasers, fat freezing methods, and prescriptions. Imagine a simple solution that takes just one day and provides immediate noticeable results. Introducing ProSculpt. ProSculpt uses air-assisted technology that's safe and gentle yet powerful, delivering instant fat-reducing and skin-tightening results. Performed by board-certified plastic surgeons while fully awake, ProSculpt contours your body with minimal downtime. It's designed to target those problem areas: waistline, neck, face, arms, thighs. ProSculpt gently removes unwanted fat and tightens loose skin with FDA-cleared plasma technology, all in a simple, guaranteed one-day procedure. ProSculpt is one and done. Schedule your free consultation at prosculpt.com for $250 off. For powerful permanent fat removal and skin tightening that works for ladies and you men, it's prosculpt.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
It's what I need to know. Get your questions, any question, into the Mac and Jack's text line 866-979-3776. Bump, my dude, says one listener. Could Lockett possibly return? Question mark, question mark, question mark. They really want to know.
Anything's possible. Yeah, he could return, but I don't think it's going to happen, man. He's sometimes you just got to move on.
Yeah.
You got to be strong. Don't stop now. Straight to the top now.
What I need to know, if faced with traffic, imagine bumper to bumper, will you drive the longer way around just to keep moving or patiently wait?
I'll drive the longer way. If I don't have anything to do, right? If I don't have to take kids to practice or something like that, I'll take the long way and just cruise. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I will add time to my commute just to not sit in traffic. And I've looked up, the drive to work for me is super fast, and then there's a longer way. And I've looked at bumper to bumper traffic, and it doesn't actually take that long, but I'm like, there's no way. This doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. There's no way it's shorter. I just can't sit in it because then you're trapped.
You're trapped.
Can't turn around. What if it's not right in that moment?
Traffic changes too, man.
I know.
GPS be lying sometimes.
What I need to know. Bump, who hit you the hardest? A clean hit.
Who hit me the hardest? I think it was I want to say it was probably Tillman on the Chicago Bears.
Okay.
It was a punt return and
Peanut Tillman.
Peanut Tillman.
Peanut Tillman. And my guy was engaged, and then last second he gets thrown off, and I'm like running at him to kind of use the block, and then he just hits me in the gut, just like, and just drops to the ground. Yeah, big hit.
What I need to know.
He's like an FBI agent now.
Is he?
I think so.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah.
What I need to know. Do you find it kind of funny that the Hawks signed the top free agent quarterback available, and all people are talking about is how we aren't signing free agents? We could be sitting here with Hal saying, hopefully we draft someone. That's fair. That's actually a fair point. I hadn't considered that. Genuinely hadn't considered it.
Well, that's just the environment of fandom, I think, is that you naturally always want more because you compare your team and your situation to the best in the game.
Yeah.
You want that, and you should want that. So, yeah, that is a great point.
What I need to know, what's a football term or concept you're embarrassed to admit you didn't know until later in life? Bump, you might not have one.
I mean, in college, I learned a lot.
Okay.
In college, because when I was in high school, I didn't really have to learn that. I was just better, right? So I get to college, and my coach talked about a cloud corner or a sky safety. I was like, what the heck is that? And I'm like, and I was too afraid to say something.
Yeah.
And for a whole meeting, I'm just confused. And then when everyone left, I asked, I'm like, hey, man, what are you talking about?
Can I tell you one theory and one opinion? My opinion is that a lot of people, like Madden and stuff like that, is obviously something a lot of people grow up with now. So you know a lot of concepts that people that are older just maybe didn't know or didn't have the same exposure to. Secondly, I think a lot of people pretend they know way more than they do, and they like making other people feel stupid. Like one thing that I felt a lot when I started out as a reporter, and I know that being a woman probably made me more defensive with this, but I always felt like, oh, I look so stupid, I sound so stupid, all these people know what they're talking about, and I think it's just people want to feel smarter than other people. Like it just makes them feel better.
It's
in any area of work.
It's so easy to do in football. There's so many little terminology things that you could say that people are like, what?
Yeah. I will admit, at the risk of people thinking I'm stupid, that I understood concepts. Like I put a lot of time into researching concepts, right? Like basic stuff, different coverages and stuff. But sometimes terms for things I didn't know, like casual words for things I didn't play. So this is really dumb, but I did not know that The Rock was like football. That's really stupid. I'm talking like my first year as a reporter. I'm 24 years old. And the twist to this is I found it out in an interview. It was Doug Baldwin, a PR person, and someone else. I can't remember who it was. And they thought it was the trio of them thought this was the funniest thing they'd ever heard. Like they could not believe I didn't know what it meant. Like I think I clarified, like, sorry, The Rock, the rock? And he was like, yeah, The Rock. So you can make fun of me if you want, but I found out what it meant from interviewing Doug Baldwin, so take that. You can only laugh so much.
You guys, you want a name?
Yeah.
For the Seahawks?
Yeah.
DeMarcus Lawrence, free agent signing.
DeMarcus
Stop.
Lawrence. 32 years old.
Do you want to say it effectively to be part of a promo?
I'll let you say it, Stacy.
Who's got this one?
A lot of people. His agency, David Cantor, has
it. Bump, your first reaction. Seahawks add DeMarcus Lawrence in free agency, announced by his own agency. So that's a fish.
Depth.
Defense continuing to get stronger. Wyman and Bob will have plenty of takeaways on that one.
He's not the DeMarcus Lawrence of elite pass rusher DeMarcus Lawrence all those years ago, but still effective.
One of the weird things about every free agent class, though I've especially noticed it this year, is when you're seeing names where you're like, that guy used to be someone that was like the best. I think about Devontae Adams, Diggs, Kupp, like all the names that are free agents, and you're like, man, it's weird to see them all together.
At some point, they look at you
Everyone
different.
gets there. What I need to know. Bump, in your opinion, is Marquez Valdez-Scantling a receiver who's going to make teams scared to bring an extra safety in the box?
An extra safety in the box? Nah, you bring a safety in the box to kind of help with the run game or whatnot. But listen, his job will be to make safeties get deep, and I think his speed will do exactly that. Now he has to catch the rock, run the right routes, and do all that good stuff. But no, I'm not mad at the addition, but bringing safeties in the boxes to help the run game.
Bump, Matt, for some reason, I get you guys confused, sorry. Matt, for some reason, someone wants your Comic-Con review, highlights and what you want to see next year, and then they say, I hope you got everything you wanted.
I did get everything I wanted. I spent a ridiculous amount of money. It's It really is my favorite weekend out of the year. They had so many cool people there. I got an original David Mack painting, which will mean nothing to you guys, but to any comic people out there, they'll be like, holy crap, that's sick.
Did you pay a lot of money for it?
Yes.
Ooh-wee.
Cool.
Collectors?
Yes.
Collector's item?
Yeah.
All right.
It really is like my favorite weekend out of the year. Just being surrounded by like all those cool comics people.
This is your
hearing about
Christmas.
It really is.
Yeah.
Tom Pelissero with the contract details on DeMarcus Lawrence.
Curtis, we're talking about Comic-Con right now.
I don't think DeMarcus Lawrence is here to be just
What's he got?
another cog in the machine. 3 years, worth up to $42 million, $18 million guaranteed. That's starter money.
For context, Dre Jones signed a $51.3 million, not that much more. I don't remember guaranteed money, but
you know what I'm doing tonight?
What?
I'm watching DeMarcus Lawrence film.
Okay, well,
let's see what he got.
He hasn't had double-digit sacks since 2018.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I don't know that I love it.
Interesting.
I gotta
see the film and see what he's got left in the tank.
That's a richer contract than I was expecting.
Oh, soon to be 33 years old.
Does it say worth up to, or what is it?
Worth up to $42 million.
I mean, sometimes that's
18
an agent.
guaranteed.
Yeah, sometimes when something's worth up to, it's an agent trying to make it seem as though
It
the
could
highest
be
possible
just a
number.
1 year, $18 million.
Exactly. So I don't know. I always try to pay attention to how it's phrased. If it's from the team, it's like the Seahawks secure their pass rush leader, like always phrased in a way that makes the team sound like they made the best move. This feels like an agent.
I saw somebody tweet yesterday. They go, if a free agent signing is labeled as former first-round pick, that means the guy's garbage.
Yes. What I need to know, which wide receiver in this draft complements JSN's game the most? Harris, Golden? I love watching Jack Beck play. He's got that gritty physical style.
Trey Harris is my guy. He's my pick. Trey Harris, go get him.
Who catches Sam Darnold's first touchdown?
AJ Barner.
I'm going to be boring and say JSN.
That's why I went AJ Barner.
They're going to get a lot of work in together. This has been Bump and Stacy. If you missed any part of the show, make sure you check out the Bump and Stacy podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google Play, or SeattleSports.com. For Michael Bumpus, Curtis Rogers, Matt Nelson, I'm Stacy Rost, Wyman, and Bob. I'm sure talking about that DeMarcus Lawrence signing coming your way next.
Jealous.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob. Weekdays 2 to 7.
Your two most prominent players on offense said, I want out of here. If you ask the texters, they would say both of them have attitude problems. We'll see what Geno signs for. If he signs for somewhere in around 40 to 45, what does that say about how he felt about Seattle? You got to put a lot of faith in John Schneider and Mike McDonald. John said, we're not going to do anything that hurts the team. The team is number one. The player is number two.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
So I formed Davis Law Group about 30 years ago, and I would get, the same questions from people about what to do in the case of an accident. Do you need a lawyer? To the point where I decided that I would at least write a book which would answer the common questions that I would receive as a lawyer. Once I wrote my first book, it proved to be hugely popular. I decided to write then a series of books in different accident cases so that we could really teach people about their rights, how to protect them, and how to decide on whether they need a lawyer and what lawyer to hire. I've found in my career that having a client that is educated and knowledgeable about their particular type of case really helps the client and also usually ends up making the case or the claim more successful. To get your free copy of any of my Washington accident books, visit WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
Hey friends, Stacy Rost here. Who has some of the best deals on new Fords and Isuzus in the Pacific Northwest? Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Who has a large selection of the highest quality used vehicles in the Pacific Northwest? That would also be Wayscar Ford in Auburn. And what dealership promises no games, no gimmicks, and never any pressure to purchase? Yes, that is correct. It's Wayscar Ford in Auburn still. Who's the only Ford dealer in all of Washington to offer a 5-day or 500-mile, no questions asked, 100% money-back return policy? Wayscar Ford in Auburn. They offer free lifetime powertrain warranty on virtually all of their new Fords. Who's the only dealer that will purchase your used car, pay you right up front, and then once they resell your old car, return 50% of the profit to you. Only Wayscar Ford in Auburn. They've given over $750,000 back to customers who have sold them their cars. And finally, what dealership has been family-owned and operated in Auburn for over 103 years? You guessed it. Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Visit them at wayscarford.com.
Hey, it's Jason Rance. Our local tax expert Greg Nunn wants taxpayers to know the IRS is now going after older cases very aggressively. If you received Form CP-504 from the IRS, do not ignore it. Be proactive and resolve your situation with Greg Nunn, N-U-N-N, None Better Tax Resolution.
The nonprofit Puget Sound Senior Baseball League plays real baseball on the best fields. Adults ages 18 to 65 and older are invited to try out for the PSSBL this Sunday, March 16th at Hogan Park at Russell Road in Kent. With 10 divisions featuring different age and skill levels, there's room for almost every ball player, from ex-Little Leaguers to high school and even former college and pros. Get all the info at pssbl.com. That's pssbl.com.
Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. The best place to watch all your favorite sports. Featuring wall-to-wall viewing screens, 6 windows, and 30 kiosks. Be there at emeraldqueen.com. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here from my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen, and PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request a complimentary design and estimate consultation at 425-629-8476 or project ideas